everyone's really great at making Star Wars.
I'd love to have lunch and discuss making Star Wars with you.
MakingStarWars.net.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today I'm with Bespin Bulletin, who went to Celebration.
I did,
Right?
the first ever celebration. Yeah,
First ever one.
The last one that was in the UK was 7 years ago, and I didn't go to that one. I didn't have any friends, and now I have friends, and I was lucky to go with them. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good to hang out with my podcast co-host Nick, who's been on the show before, and Pevy, who helps run the site with me. It was good to see them, meet them in person, hang out with them. I met Azatru, hang out with Azatru for a while. We gave him our wristband so he could go and watch the 7th episode of Mandalorian.
What? Are you an idiot? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? Are you dumb? What? Why'd you do that?
He wasn't having a good time, man. I wanted to help a buddy out.
I'm kidding. Azatru's like probably the sweetest guy we know.
Yeah,
on YouTube, especially on YouTube, he's the rare breed. So that was cool of you, man. That was cool.
Yeah, him and Battlefront updates, they were like both pretty annoyed with how the experience was going for them at that point, and they were told they could go and watch the episode, but then they weren't allowed. So me and Nick, we gave them our wristbands and was like, hey, just go and have a good time.
Yeah,
like me and Nick, we got into what we would consider the best panel of the event, which is the Lucasfilm showcase, and we had a great time coming in there, and coming out of it, all of us were like so excited. The guy next to me, I don't know who he was, but he was crying, man. Like he was crying throughout that thing, like screaming. I thought he was gonna die. I thought I was gonna have to like call
Beatlemania.
What's weird is the thing that got the guy next to me out of all the announcements wasn't an announcement. Is when Neil Scanlon came out with the creatures. The guy just went mental, and then Daisy Ridley like kind of tipped him over the edge.
Oh, okay. That kicked him right. Yeah, like it's weird because like I was at Celebration 2015 and they played the Force Awakens trailer, and Han comes out and says, "Chewie, we're home." There were like, it's weird because I really enjoyed the moment. It was really cool. It was like a really special like moment being there with everybody. But then I look over at the dudes who were like bawling, and I get it. But there's a cynical part of me that just goes, "Give me a effing break, man," about it. And so it's like, but once again, I'm like, I get it though. It's I feel this weird push and pull with my cynicism when I go to those things, because they're inherently a very like it's not a cynical thing when you're there. You know what I mean? And so it fucks with my nature. It
was like everybody was going mad for every little thing, and like you could just, me and Pevy and Nick, we just sat there like a lot of the time, like, and didn't really react to a lot of stuff. So but there was like when they bring out the directors, Pevy literally shouted, "Where's Lindelof?" Like,
what an asshole. Love you, Pet. Love you though. That's great. Where's Lindy? Come on.
Yeah.
Right?
Because then they were playing a song. I can't remember the name of the song, but it was like, "Tell me what you want." And then Pevy started shouting Damon Lindelof. And
good job, Pevy. Good job. I'm surprised it was Pevy and not Nick doing it. If you had asked me who, just after listening to your podcast over the years, I would have figured it was Nick. It would have been the one just doing that shit. But that's pretty funny.
Yeah, well, we kind of like made that entire row judge Nick for no reason. So
I like this. Yeah, go on.
They were asking people in the crowd what their favorite Star Wars animated series was. And Pevy pointed at Nick and says, "His is Star Wars Resistance." And the row in front of us has turned around and started saying, "Oh my God, really?" And like just having a go. And Nick just had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
He was in a daze.
Because the only thing worse than saying my favorite show is Star Wars Resistance is I hate all the cartoons to that crowd. So just shutting up and just dealing with it was probably the right way to go.
I don't even think he understood what was going on. I don't even think he knew what Pevy was doing. Like, but Pevy was in a weird mood. As soon as we went through and sat down, they asked what people's favorite movie was.
Right.
And Pevy shouted, "The Last Jedi." Not as a joke, because it is his favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And people started shouting at him that he was brave, and that he's a soldier, and all these things. And and he was like, "Yeah, it's my favorite movie." And what, to these people.
Right.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
Yeah.
But like I'm with you. Like the amount of like skepticism I had about all of it. Like not the shows like they're happening, the filming, the in post production. A lot of them they're coming out. Movie side, I think one happens. I think the other one they'll try and make happen. And Mangold, I don't think Mangold happens.
I'm completely positive on this one. I think with this go, I think that it's a lot. I think it's more assured than normal, because we know the 2015 one, the what is it, 2025 one is happening
again. They didn't give dates.
No, they didn't, and I think that the only reason that they didn't give dates could be because they could get a break on the writer's strike. That's just something to consider. When release dates were firm and there was no writer's strike, that's going to happen. They're voting on it next week or the week after. I think it's next week, though. I think they have about a 2-week period to vote, and absolutely nothing has changed for the writers. Nothing has changed in the climate of Hollywood. And if they vote to strike, when they vote, they're going to vote to strike. And so with that right there, that may give them a little bit of pushing everything into a different year. It's possible, but if we just go with how the other productions are, though, I'm just giving that first one as a given. Okay, I'm saying that one's the Obi Chinoy one. It's going to happen. And
I think that's what they'll try and force to happen. If they go through writer after writer, director after director, I think it'll happen.
Yeah.
I think they're committed to the vision.
I don't think you could announce Rey and then not deliver that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'll happen. I just don't I think Filoni's could happen first.
And I think so. I was up last night, and here's the other thing is I think Filoni's will happen for sure. Everything that they're working towards is to make that movie happen. So I think that one is also more of a given. When would be the big idea. But Kathleen was giving an interview I saw last night, and I wish I was late. I was just watching footage while I was going to bed. And she goes, what people have to understand is it took us 7 years. It's a 7-year involvement to get one of these series off the ground sometimes. It took us 7 years to do Ahsoka. And then she literally says 7 years for Filoni's film. And I'm like, okay, does that make it the 2029 film? Or has it already been in the works? Because they were kind of saying that they're doing the groundwork for it. So what she said, I was wanted to shake the interviewer for not following up with what do you mean? With some kind of further clarification. It was just oh my God, I'm talking to Kathleen Kennedy, which I understand. I mean, I've been there in the moment where you are wow, I'm talking to this person, and you kind of don't ask the follow-up you wish you had. But I was oh, come on.
Yeah, I don't think that'll be 2029. I think if it's latest, it's 2027.
That's my prediction too.
Even with the end of Ahsoka, that could just be the start of his movie. Could start where that ends, essentially. So, they've it's all going towards Thrawn, and if the crossover event is Thrawn being the big threat, do we really need to wait 2 years past the Charmin movie? Probably not. Because it's Mandalorian season 4 is happening, and it's well, what's going to happen in there? They didn't announce anything for that yesterday, which I thought was weird. That whole Mandalorian segment, and I kind of thought they'd be yeah, Mandalorian season 4 it's going to come out next year or something. We're going to start filming it this year, because obviously they've said that writing it, and it's in they said it's in the concept art phases, right? You've said it's going to happen in October.
It's
they
happening.
would have.
Yeah, it's that they are making the crap for it already.
Mm-hmm.
And we know they even planned around the writer's strike with it and everything. So it's
so that's why I thought
That's why
I thought they'd say, like, we're looking to go in production this year on it and maybe release it next year. I thought they'd give us an update on season 4.
Right.
Which they didn't. They showed us 8 minutes of footage instead.
The problem is that they haven't finished season 3 yet. I think that they don't want to, put the cart in front of the horse, so to speak, on that one. And so I think that's probably, and they kind of already let the cat out of the bag a bunch of times. So it wouldn't really make headlines. And they also probably maybe don't want it to take headlines away from like the new film announcements that they have, when that one's a given and those headlines have already existed. So I could see why they just didn't do it. But I am a little bit surprised. But I guess they weren't necessarily like short on content for this one. They got to show an episode. No. And the episode was, I mean, I'm glad that episode hit, because I know a lot of people saw it. So I'm glad it hit, because I was getting I don't think I was really getting roasted, but as Meg said, I was getting roasted on Reddit. And it's just like every single thing that I put in that report came to fruition in that episode and was literally hinted at throughout the whole season. So it was nice for me just to go like, oh, thank you. I'm glad I just know that I don't have to deal with that anymore. You know what I mean? It's nice.
No, when the panel ended for the Mandalorian episode, like the convention center was buzzing. Anybody you saw coming out of it or spoke to, like, they were all just really, really hyped up, and like they couldn't just rave about it enough. And again, it's obviously being in the room. Like, some of them were in the room with Filoni and Favreau as it aired. Others were just in the other stages, the Galaxy stage and the Twin Sun stage. But like, everybody was just really excited for it. I honestly thought like they'd put it on Disney Plus, because the way they were talking about it on stage, like, they just kept saying, "Oh, when's it coming out? Are we really gonna wait till Wednesday?" Like, they were saying that on stage, and I thought, yeah, they'll show it here, and then maybe like a couple hours later they'll put it on Disney Plus, because the internet's going to be filled with like people talking about it, no matter what, like whether it was us or just randomers in there. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
they are so optimistic. They're so optimistic that like people won't take a picture of Thrawn, and that they won't have an overexposed photo of their Elon Musk looking Smurf man on the internet, instead of like a really like fucking great, high res photo with great lighting that really sells that they know what they're doing. They continually like just do that. They I don't know where that comes from with them, why they can't be real about certain things, because like, once again, everybody on the internet is talking about what happens in that episode. So it would be better if they if in a perfect world, since they didn't put it out, they would just release both episodes next week and do a two-part finale. That would be huge. And it probably would. Yeah. It would leave a better lasting memory of the series for the show, that would then permeate into the discourse about how it's discussed retroactively. So
it was a surprise that they didn't put it out. I really thought they'd say in the room, and don't worry if you don't get to see it. At I think it was 6 p.m. they were showing it. If you don't get to see it, you'll see it 3 hours later on Disney Plus or something along those lines. But no, because they did that with Kenobi, right? They saw it like an hour before the rest of us did.
Yeah. It was like as they were getting out, it was like it was airing on Disney Plus. So that made more sense, because the internet's the internet. That was a more realistic way of handling it. But there we go. There we have them. Sketchcraft gave a $2 super chat. Says, "What's up, boyos? Here's something for Bespin Cha-ching. You're never going to see that $2. I hope you know. I will keep it." The young boomer gave a $10 super chat. Thanks, man. And said, "Hey guys, I had a big smile on my face over all these announcements. Really cheered up a gloomy Easter at work. Absolutely delighted Daisy is coming back. Saw KK clarified Kenobi season 2 status as well." Yeah, we're gonna get to the article that this guy right here wrote in a few minutes on the Obi-Wan one. Why don't we do that now? Why don't we just start hitting some of these? And then so right here, wait, but the question is, where is that one? Okay, yeah. Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 is not in active development, says Kathleen Kennedy by Bespin Bulletin. And as always, you read Bespin Bulletin, or you can always support him on coffee.com/Bespin Bulletin. And you can leave a lewd message and he'll take it. If you pay him, he'll take it. That's the thing we know about him.
Mm-hmm.
Just over 11 months ago, the highly anticipated Obi-Wan Kenobi series debuted on Disney Plus and went on to become the most watched Star Wars series to date, with critics also rating the series highly. Since the series wrapped up, rumors have swirled about a second season, with Ewan McGregor, Deborah Chow, and Kathy Kennedy all seemingly excited about a potential follow-up in the months that followed. And on a side note, that's what I had heard too. Disney was like wanting it. So anyways, Ewan McGregor is present at Star Wars Celebration this weekend as his wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who partook in the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase panel and the Ahsoka panel, which led some fans to speculate and hope that McGregor might make an appearance at the Studio Showcase to announce a second season of Kenobi. But alas, he's just there for photo opportunities, it seems. Yeah, $500 ones. Kathleen Kennedy confirmed to Variety that a second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi is not being developed. She's, quote, "That is not in active development, but I never say never, because there's always the possibility. The show was received so well, and Deborah Chow did such a spectacular job. Ewan McGregor really wants to do another. Everybody's all hands on deck with what we're doing right now. As you can see, what we showed everybody at Celebration. We'll turn our attention to that again, maybe down the road." So then you say, personally, I'm not disappointed that we're not getting a second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi, at least not anytime in the near future. Not because I disliked the series, I enjoyed it, but because just like the films, I want any follow-up with Kenobi to feel special and not rushed. Season 1 left us with some exciting threads to follow. Kenobi's training with his master Qui-Gon Jinn and what happened to Moses Ingram's Reva. And one day I'd like to follow up to those stories, but only if the script and vision is right. So, and then you could follow the podcast, donate to the coffee page and all that stuff. But don't follow him on Mastodon, because that's not really going to happen. That's a fake thing. That's never going to actually happen.
I haven't posted on there in weeks, so just keep pasting the same paragraph. So,
I know.
Same thing for Hive. Like what happened to Hive? Although that was supposed to be the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't surprise me on that one. I mean, I felt like if it was going to happen, it was going to probably take a little while anyways. Like they were going to have to crack a story. They were going to have to, whether it was Joby Harold or somebody new, they were going to have to figure that out. So it's like either way we cut it, I saw it as being 3 years away.
Yeah. I didn't see it anytime soon. I hope they take even longer. Like I said, I kind of want the Kenobi stuff to feel special. So if we don't see another Kenobi season for 4 years, that's fine by me. We've got plenty of other things in development. We've, some of the movies that were in development might become shows, and if Skeleton Crew or Ahsoka is successful, then maybe we get follow-up seasons to those. Like Rosario yesterday on stage, mentioned the second season of Ahsoka. Kathy didn't respond when she said it to her, but she was trying to poke and prod, and so I don't really need a Kenobi.
You and I know people that were on quote Stormcrow, and everybody on Stormcrow was like, this was treated as season 1 of Stormcrow. I mean, no one was under the impression this was a limited series.
No, definitely not.
I think that the whole thing that we have to look at now is I put out an article the day before Celebration, which is really telling when you put it in conjunction with Jeff Snyder's story about Filoni and then the confirmation of the Filoni film. Is that one ends with this big event that's about to come, like the storm is coming. It's that's how it's not a happy ending. It's bad for unless you like the bad guys, in which case you're like, yeah, this is great. And but how far are they going to take the setup before they need to get to that film? And where all of this stuff crosses over, I would have to think right now, just based off of what they said, there's not going to be there was a weird disturbance in the force or something, and there's a catastrophe going to happen. I think it's going to be like the culmination of the war with Thrawn and the Imperial remnants, right? I mean, that seems to be what they're building here. So
that was the quote on stage. It's the fight between the New Republic and the Imperial remnant. Like that's the thing they kept saying, because even when they was asked about characters, for some reason they all remain tight-lipped. Like Dave, Kathy, all of them. So yeah, it seems like, given the ending of Ahsoka, that this should be the thing to follow.
Right.
Like, even if Mandalorian season 4 happens to come out next year, like, do we really then need to wait a year, say to 2025, for the movie? Probably, that seems likely, but then you lose content on Disney Plus, right? Because if you're then saving the follow-up to that story, and like the storylines going between Skeleton, Ahsoka, and Mando, then that's why I kind of think that Filoni one might become the 2025 movie. Mm-hmm. I also would predict that that's a volume-based movie, considering like the shows, and like they probably want continuity there in terms of like how it appears on screen. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and like they can probably turn something around in the volume and that sort of setup much quicker than they could doing something at Pinewood.
I would say though, with the volume, usually I think the Hollywood consensus is, if you're not phoning it in, is that you do the Batman, right, where you film on the volume and then you recomposite in post like at ILM. And so I don't personally think that it's possible that, without it already being on the agenda, that the 2025 movie will be that, unless it's a phoned in Disney Plus television episode that's 2 hours in the theater. And so if they are really trying to step it up and make it like a big event, I see that as like probably
it takes them
impossible.
It takes them how many months to film Mando? What, it took them 6 months this time?
Yeah,
you lost it.
Yeah, and I would say like sometimes like they're not filming weekends and stuff either. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty like normal. Usually it can be a pretty normal work day. So
what I'm thinking is, if this volume based, they probably don't need a film for 6 months, which they would do if they were in Pinewood, right? Like if you follow the trajectory of Last Jedi and Tross and the rest of it. So you can still have a lot of time in post-production. But I think the initial shoot can be shorter, and you get to that point quicker than you would have a Pinewood shoot, especially when it's going through different writers and everything else. Like, again, also just looking at like the storyline stuff inside of the television shows, like, I don't think they can go, like, if the Thrawn thing happens this summer, well, by the time it comes out, it'll be like October or whatever, right? His episode where he comes back. If that happens in October, we then have to wait, 4 years? Like till 2027? I don't see that happening. I see that happening much sooner. I don't see them taking the December 2026 release date, because that's Avatar. And Avatar, like, that's making more money than Star Wars movies. Like, why would you replace it? Like, you'd want Avatar to stay there. You want Avatar every 2 years.
Oh yeah, right? And I would imagine Avatar has that. So, I mean, I still think it would be too quick though. I still think it would likely be too soon. I don't. But I kind of think here's the whole thing is like, we need to look at like what we know, or what I think I know about Ahsoka, and what I think I know about Ahsoka right now is and there's clues that if this is correct too, with Sabine's hair. Remember how Sabine has short hair and long hair? So the thing I've been saying for a while now is that the first 4 episodes are dealing with the Republic. There's a little bit of a time jump, and those episodes are concurrent to the Mandalorian season 2. Then the next 4 episodes are more concurrent to season 3 of the Mandalorian. I don't know how specifically, but they are, and they will kind of meet up at the end, culminate with around that ending point. I'd say in the timeline. That's what it sounds like.
Right.
So with that in mind, that's just one show right there, right? And then we know that we have one more season of Mando, and so that next season of Mando will probably take them out another year. And then if there's another season of Ahsoka that runs concurrent to season 4 of that, then we start to end up in a place here where we have growing narratives that are running concurrently. So we're not necessarily moving that far forward to that moment of, and just because the movie's the big culmination of like maybe like the one where they will kill Thrawn, for instance, like where Thrawn, where the Imperial remnant truly falls or whatever, and stuff. Well, we end up with doesn't mean that it's one battle. And so Disney Plus might milk it out for a little bit before that actual movie hits. I mean, that's it's possible.
They did say as well that just because they said it's all going to, come to this crossover event, that means the Mandalorian and the other shows would stop. They said they would still continue to do the shows after it.
Right.
But I just still think, even if, you go to Mando season 4, I don't think you're doing Ahsoka season 2, like, given how, I think Ahsoka season 2 could happen in the future. I don't see it happening before the crossover event.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't see it. Like,
yeah.
I think the reason they didn't give us dates for any of the movies is because they're probably interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to commit on 2025 for Charmaine's movie because what if it goes through more writer issues and whatever else, and then and then you could just give it to Filoni like that date, be like, look, we want this a bit sooner, because Filoni said he wrote the Ahsoka show years ago. Like he knew where he wanted it to be, and like for all we know, like he's already mapped out what this movie is.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's already written it, and it's just about time and getting it ready to go. And that I assume that would become a direct priority for Lucasfilm and the productions they had already set at Manhattan Beach.
Right.
So it's probably easier to get that into production as it would in contrast to something like Charmaine's, which will go through multiple writers, and then you don't. It could be a race against time for her. Whereas Filoni, like he could probably do the job that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, in reality, like my analysis on the Rey movie, as we're going to call it now, I guess easier. It's a really good concept, right? It's it's the natural progression of the story. It's what fans want to see. It's what we all figured would come next. And in a lot of ways, I don't feel like that concept is that hard, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's that difficult of a film to come up with. And it's not that difficult of a story to like tell in in 2 hours. And so it would be kind of weird if they couldn't make that one happen, especially with how I think easy that concept is to like please. And so I don't feel like they have an uphill. I feel like it was more of an uphill battle when I didn't know that was the premise. When it was like they're just trying to like, come up with something epic. It's like, yeah, go make something epic. And they're like, how do I make something epic? I don't know what that means, It's just like, but when you have like that premise there, I think that they have a really good place to like play with, and what kind of nefarious forces are going to, go up against them, and what's happened in those 15 years. Cause there's just so much that they can just say, yeah, this other cult of the Palpatine cult people are out there, and they are dark side force users now or something weird. You know what I mean? Whatever. But point being is, I would actually, if I had my way, I would rather have the Filoni movie first, because I think that's ultimately going to be like just a bunch of fun. And I think that it would be great for Star Wars to come back in the theater and just be a fucking bunch of fun. Right. But I don't know. I still think the Rey movie's first. I think that casting.
They clearly want the Rey movie to be first.
Yeah.
And everything when you look back at last year, all the momentum when Lindelof was working on it, all the stories were that they want to get that movie right, and they obviously Lindelof's gone. They got a new writer. Like they really want to get it right. They want to make sure it's them putting their best foot forward.
Yeah.
I think if Filoni's movie comes out first, it just gives them more time to like get that in a place that they need it to be. We all know the concept, we all know the idea, and it's something that, like you said, like a lot of people want and a lot of people are excited for.
Right.
That easily got the biggest cheer in the room, when Daisy came out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think, but again, I don't think a 2-year delay on that specifically is that bad. And it'd be nice to like kind of not necessarily wrap it up, but put at least a bow on this phase of Mando universe stuff.
Yeah.
You know, by like, because that's been keeping Star Wars afloat for years at that point. So for 2025 to be the Filoni movie and it be the Mando centric one, then I think that's a nice little end cap to where we've been on the run up to the return to like Star Wars on the big screen, you know.
Right.
But again, I would like to see that Rey movie. Of course, I want to see it. I'm very excited for it, and I'm excited. I guess, for the Filoni one. I'm not that excited for the Filoni one because it's just like that feels like the end of what we've had for the last like 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, to some degree.
Right.
But we kind of know what to expect in that regard. Like the most exciting one to me is the Mangold one. Like the concept of that is exciting. But yeah, I think all three are good movies and movies we should get to see. I'm just not that confident in Mangold.
Yeah, actually,
I like him as a creative, obviously.
Right.
But out of the three, that's the one I'm like, you're the problem child. You might be the one that gets disowned by the family. You know?
Yeah. He was the one who went on the Star Wars stream and said, "Shit, I saw people acting like that. Was like, grow the fuck up, come on." But the thing about it is, Mangold did the Indiana Jones movie for him. So, and they're very happy with the relationship, with the working relationship, with the storytelling. Sort of like, I think Kathy Kennedy said they talk about story a lot, so they already kind of have a language together for communicating, you know. And so I think that that's kind of the big thing that makes me more confident in it happening. Like, I think, like, for instance, like the person who also had that was Rian Johnson, and where are his movies, right? That never happened. But I also think Rian Johnson and like Feige and stuff like that, all of that stuff was just always announced to like talk, like, look over here, something, distraction from something else. And like, yeah, we intend to, we're gonna do it, want to, but you know, nobody's really making it happen. And so when it comes to the Mangold thing, if Mangold wants it to happen, it's going to. I think if he does the work, if he's like there and he's like involved in it, and the only other thing is that Swamp Thing movie that he's doing, and he said, and he's confirmed that he's writing Swamp Thing and he's writing his Star Wars movie that he's directing. Yeah. And so when it comes to,
he also would direct Swamp Thing as well, by the way.
And he also would, he's a writer director in that sense, yeah. And so with that in mind, like, if for some reason that blows up and becomes Swamp Thing becomes the biggest thing of all time, then I'm like, uh-oh. But it's fucking Swamp Thing. I don't think it's gonna happen. I like Swamp Thing. I think he's a cool guy. I liked him as a child. It was a big movie when I was a kid. Trash movie, but it was a big movie. Like, he was a big character. He even did PSAs on TV and stuff. So could Swamp Thing come back? Maybe, but I'm not expecting. I think it's an uphill battle to make Swamp Thing a thing. And so I'm of the opinion he will go and they'll make Swamp Thing. It'll be like, yeah, whatever, and then he'll do Star Wars. He'll make it happen. And I'm hoping that it does happen, because he's probably the most solid filmmaker out of all of them. Like the Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
That Indiana Jones trailer, I'm really confident in Indiana Jones after seeing the final trailer.
Yeah, that 6 minutes they showed of Indiana Jones 5 was also really good. It was funny.
Yeah. Tell me, is anything come to mind on that? I never actually heard any good like retellings of what that 6 minutes was. And
yeah, so it starts off with Indy and Helena running through the streets of Morocco. They're being chased by Mads' like henchman. I can't remember his name. Is his name Forlan or something? Or
Vulgar? Something, I don't remember. Voller.
Yeah, so they're running through the streets trying to escape those guys. Indy and Helena are having a back and forth at that point, that she betrayed him and he's like saying something like, "Would your father be proud of you for this?" and etc. And she tells him that he's just a grave digger, and like you think you're a hero and you're not. Like you do all this for you do this for the greater good, but you don't. You do it for yourself. And they're just having like a back and forth, and it's a good back and forth. They are funny, and they have good chemistry. It seems in the clip that we saw.
Yeah.
They eventually get cornered, and it's a kid we've seen in some of the pictures, I think, and he's in the trailers.
Yeah.
He stops and like he's in this little vehicle thing, and they basically commandeer it and like speed off, and it's a chase through the Moroccan city with Indy at the wheel. And again, they're still bickering throughout the entire thing, and it's shot really well. It's intense and thrilling, and at some point, Indy then like decides to take these steps, and it's really long, and the way it's shot is so fun. Like everybody in the room was like busting a gut laughing because he's flying down these stairs in this little vehicle, and it's just a close up of Indy's face as he's hitting every single bump, and Harrison's face is just going all over the place.
Right.
And until they get to the bottom, and like he has a little bit of a crash, and Helena and the kid like get out of the vehicle and commandeer another one and just run off and leave him to get captured. He's like not very happy about it. He gets back into the little vehicle and gives chase to them. So they're going after. They're trying to catch up to Mads, who at this point has the dial.
Okay.
Indy catches up to him pretty quickly. They're kind of side by side, him and Helena, and he's shouting at her again, saying again about the father thing. Your father wouldn't be proud of you. You're doing this for bail money, and she's telling him to shut up. And the kid in the behind starts shouting at him, saying she's not doing it just for bail money. She's also got gambling debts, And
so is that kid her short round?
Yeah, it seems so. I can't remember the kid's name. It's like Terry or something. I can't remember what it is.
Teddy. It's Teddy.
Yeah. So he's shouting that, and I think she tells the kid off like, "I don't need you to fight my battles" or something to the kid. And but yeah, so the henchmen follow up behind them again. It's Boyd Holbrook, by the way, is driving Mads's car, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, they catch up to each other. Indy eventually leaps from his vehicle into hers, and as they're driving, they catch up to Mads pretty quickly. And Phoebe jumps off of their vehicle onto the back of Mads's car, and she smashes through the back window, and she grabs him by his tie and starts choking him from behind with it.
Wait, who? Mads?
Mads, yeah.
Okay.
As she's choking him out, Indy is like following them along, making sure that she's safe, and these guys are like pulling up on like Vespas and motorbikes like with machine guns, and she's so desperate to get there. Like Harrison, Indy is telling her to let it go, like leave him go because she's gonna get herself killed. Because they're catching up. The shots are firing in closer and closer to her, and eventually Harrison like grabs her and pulls her off of the car and into his little vehicle as Mads's car turns away, and the guy on the motorbike behind with the machine gun, he like goes straight. It's like all these like big like twigs on the back of this cart, and he goes straight into them, and it is brutal. Like you felt the real impact of it as he hits them, and I think Harrison makes a quip something like, "You could thank me later" or something.
Yeah.
But she is furious as Mads disappears. But again, it was only 6 minutes, and it's done more for me than the two trailers did, and I think the trailers are good, especially the latest one. But just seeing it in action and how funny, intense, and thrilling it was, like I was talking to people afterwards who they were saying they had no interest in seeing Indy, and they were like, that 6 minutes sold me. Like, we need to go and see it.
Yeah.
I think they will put that out at some point. I think they should in the run up to the movie coming out.
Talk show circuit clips,
Yeah,
probably.
They have to, because it was really good. It played really well in the room as well. I thought it was a weird place to end with Indy, because the movie announcement bringing Daisy out felt like the good end point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it got that we all thought that the showcase was done after Daisy, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we've got Indiana Jones," and it was not deflating, but it was just like, "Oh, you've hit such a big high with everybody in this room with Daisy.
Yeah.
How'd you top that now?"
Right.
And they didn't, even when they played the Indiana Jones trailer, but it was the clip they ended on, which was good. That was fun. Like, everybody left in a good mood because of the clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like their back and forth. I really like their banter. Like, that relationship is going to be good.
Did you notice in that trailer? I think what I'm seeing is old Indiana Jones from 1969 jumping out of a World War II plane, and then when you look down in the water, that's where I think like those like Viking style Roman marauder boats are down below them.
Mm-hmm.
So it does seem like that dial does something trippy with like, you know, seeing what happened at that place in multiple timelines or something weird like that. I think it's something of that.
This references to that, right, in sort of the trailer, like Mads is saying he can't change things from the. I think Indy says something, he can't change things from the past, but Mads responds with I can with this, or something like.
Hitler made some mistakes. I laugh when he says it. I'm like, oh, you think, buddy? You think?
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. Yeah. Yeah. So there's been no descriptions of that trailer, the clip that was played.
Not that I've seen. I haven't gone out of my way to try to find it, but I feel like you gave a pretty good rundown of it. So I feel like I know now. You know.
Yeah, it was really good. You know, like I said, everybody afterwards, like, that's the thing about Indy that got them buzzing.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's talk about something else that will probably never ever happen. I mean, Indiana Jones will happen, but not Kenobi, apparently. Kathleen Kennedy reaffirms that Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is still being developed. Reveals Waititi is writing it by himself. By you. You wrote this. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you wrote it by yourself, right?
I did write it by myself.
That makes you just like Taika.
I am just like Taika.
Lucasfilm kicked off Star Wars Celebration 2023.
I have threesomes all the time.
With the bang, thanks to their, I mean, that's why you had to leave Celebration. You had a threesome scheduled, which provided fans with multiple trailers for Star Wars for Star Wars television series releasing within the next 18 months, along with a new slate of movies. Despite the excitement for the new movies announced, fans couldn't help but notice that one of the most high-profile movie projects announced in recent years, a film from Thor Ragnarok director Taika Waititi, was missing from the slate. But Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, when speaking to Variety, confirmed that Taika's project is still very much in development. She told the outlet, Taika is still working away. He's writing the script himself, and he really doesn't want to bring others into the process. And I don't blame him. He has a very, very unique voice. So I want to protect that, and that's what he's doing. But we're going to make that one day. So that's the end of the quote. The news that Waititi is writing his untitled Star Wars project definitely comes as a surprise, as it was announced in 2020 that he was developing the script alongside 1917 scribe Krysty Wilson-Cairns, with Wilson-Cairns just this fall reiterating that she was still working on the script with Waititi. And just for the record, there's always a chance she misspoke. If Wilson-Cairns has departed the project and Waititi is handling a rewrite of the project himself, it could definitely explain why and how this project is taking so long to come to fruition. Waititi and Wilson-Cairns worked on a script together for over 2 years that we know of, and now Waititi, at least for now, is penning it by himself. Kennedy also opened up to Variety regarding Rian Johnson's planned Star Wars trilogy, telling the outlet that she and Johnson still want to tell that story, but it's Johnson's busy schedule that's currently stopping the project from developing. Kennedy said that she speaks with Rian often and that he's really excited to delve back into a galaxy far, far away, but that it requires a really big commitment of time, which Johnson doesn't have in the near future. So that, and I do think that is true, you know. And I'm kind of the kind of like cynical though about those movies actually ever happening, with how much time it takes to get anything going. Like when you look at them right now, their slate is until like basically 2030. You know, like we won't have, it'll be 2031 when either of their movies can start, can come out. So it can't be a rebound movie. Ryan can't go and you know, try to remake Footloose and fail and then be like, I need a really big Hollywood win, because it's not gonna happen like that unless they start doubling up Star Wars movies again and trying to get a bit frisky with the schedule because they're feeling super confident. But if we go as the schedule states right now, with that many years away, it's like, how is anybody going to jump in and just start doing one of these movies? I don't really, it seems harder than we think it is.
And Kathy did say as well that these movies that she announced yesterday, they could get sequels. Again, and it goes back to the story we heard last year from the Lindelof stuff, which was
from Snyder.
It's been written as it's from the trades, which was being written as a standalone, but with the idea that sequels could follow. She said that for all of them.
Yeah.
So if the Mangold one, if you know, Filoni, even like if any of those are successful, they could do sequels.
Right.
So if you know Daisy's one comes out in 2025. 2029 could be her sequel.
Yeah.
You know, we could have, say, you know, Filoni's in 2027 and go back to Charmin and Daisy and all that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I personally don't think, like I said, I don't even know if the Mangold one's going to happen. Yeah, I wanted to. I like him as a director and as a writer. He's a really, really talented guy. I also really respect Taika and his work. I would love to see that get made. But
I would love both of them to get their movies for sure. And I was theorizing yesterday because there was that quote where he says, like, I want to do like a Ben-Hur biblical epic. And then we have the Ben-Hur Star Wars logo for Taika's movie. And I started wondering, was this a concept that Lucasfilm, you know, had sitting there for somebody to pick up, and then like Taika walked and then, you know, and then he picked it up. And but according to what they're saying here, that's not the case.
Yeah, they said that Mangold had the idea. Like she said that he kept talking to her that he wanted to do a Star Wars movie, and eventually pitched her an idea, I think, last summer, and which was what this movie is. So Taika, like, obviously, he's had that movie idea since 2020. Right. You know, so Taika's had that 2 years longer than him. But one thing that does seem to happen, and it was said multiple times yesterday, is Kathy's taking pictures from other people. She's not like, they're not going in with a vision. So Leslie Headland said she went to Kathleen Kennedy with the idea of like when the series is set and what it's about. Mangold did.
I like that Frozen with Kill Bill thing that she said. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go on.
And there's other things like that just happening. Like she said it multiple times that people come to her with an idea. Like even Feige's thing.
Yeah.
She said she never heard from him with an idea. But again, she's having directors or writers go to her with ideas, and then they seem to be developing from there, which is why I think we've had so many movies announced that are all supposedly standalone movies.
Right.
Is because she's just taking just ideas and pitches, and if she believes in them, she's greenlighting them. You know, I think that's why, like yesterday, when they put the timeline of events all on the screen, and she was like, "We want to cover and tell stories in all these different spaces." You know, it gives them a lot more wiggle room.
I think it's important for like Star Wars itself to look at the failure in the success, because you want to succeed, you want to replicate your success, but you also want to take that success further and extrapolate from that as much as you can. And like, look at Rogue One, huge success, made huge fucking money. And then now here we are in a situation where Andor had to be a TV show in order to like get that story going and to make it happen. It's like not the best place for it, not the best way to go about it or anything like that. And I not a knock on the quality of the show. Obviously, if you watch the show, you know we fucking love it. But it's like had Andor, there's certain things that could have happened in Andor that could have continued the story and allowed for prequels. And that could have become like Rogue One itself could have almost been a franchise if handled just a little bit differently, and nobody knew what to expect. So it's like it's only retroactively that they could kind of see that side of things. And so that's where I think they're at with these like new shows. Like yeah, I think they're hoping to get an Andor. I mean a Rogue One. To get a Rogue One, then from there they move on. And I would also imagine they will be less willing to kill the whole cast. But with the Death Star, you kind of had to. It was the right answer still. I still think it was the right answer for the story. But so like in terms of like that kind of jazz, but like with the thing about with what Mangold's film is proposing to do, I mean, is sort of like that's an idea that you can keep going if it's about like, because he's talking about like it being biblical. So you're gonna have these people that are like somebody who's probably like a slave, and then the Force begins to call to them, and then they start to use that, and they use that as a way to like liberate like themselves and the people around them, and then from that comes this like order of knights in some way. Like it's like a story that you could continue to develop, and I could definitely see if the first one even has moderate success, you could definitely turn that into a few films as people are discovering what is the Force, how does it work, and like, you know, what's it like when the first person turns to the dark side in this thing, and like when they don't know, like what if they don't know the dark side's bad? What if they're using both for a time and figuring it out, and like you see like the pitfalls and stuff like that based off of the rules that are set in the dominant Star Wars timeline? Like that's always been a place that I think they've been very cognizant that they can go to and just like really run with. And so, and Mangold's a good guy to kick that off, I think.
Yeah, what the attitude we had yesterday was that those 3 movies they announced pleases everybody.
Yeah,
like people have always said they wanted to see the origins of the Force and the Jedi and all that. Like that's an easy win to announce that movie, and you have probably the right guy to do it. You know, right. Rob's getting his Mandalorian movie. Like Rob is happy.
Specifically the one he wanted. Specifically the one he requested.
Like
he was playing that obviously. He's like, that's not the one I said I wanted. That's not the one. And I'm like, yeah, this is your fault. This is your fault.
So that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you have obviously follow up to the sequels in Rey's movie. So everything feels like an easy win, and
yeah,
it's something fans have asked for like multiple times in different spaces. So I think that's fine. But so with Taika, I don't see how this is going to happen. I don't like, and again, it, like I said in the article, I think it makes sense how this has now taken 3 years. If Wilson Connors has left, if Taika said like he doesn't want to work with it, well, we've seen it with Kathy and the Charmin situation. She wanted to keep Charmin, she didn't want to keep Lindelof. She let the writer go.
Yeah.
So he's gone, she remains. Same thing with the Taika situation, perhaps. They turned in a draft, like a script. Lucasfilm weren't best pleased. Taika maybe put the blame on her, saying, look, I want to handle it myself. He's now starting from scratch, maybe.
Yeah.
So it could take another few years to get to a point where that movie will get made. But again, this is Star Wars. Most of these movies don't actually get made. And Taika, she's blaming like Ryan's schedule for his trilogy not happening. Taika is a very, very busy guy. Like
same as Ryan.
Yeah, so he might not get the chance or the time to do it.
Right.
You know, and by the point that he does, they might, if their plans go to plan, they might not have the time to do his movie. Like if the Rey one hits and they want to do follow-ups to it, that's going to be a focus. If the Mangold one hits, they want to do follow-ups to that. Why would you then need the Taika movie if you've got, say, 2 successful independent sagas running concurrently? You wouldn't need it. Like so.
No, you wouldn't. And what one thing is, I was always under the impression that Taika's movie was going to be in the Episode 9 timeline. Even though that thing looked ancient, that thing had like that Ben-Hur look. I always thought the ancient thing was about just getting that Ben-Hur style thing. Like for all we know, it's a movie about a guy who's like a slave who once again breaks out, of the system in some way or something like that. And it's somewhat comical, but Star Wars and fun. And so like I could see that being what it was. But point being is, if his movie was in fact ancient, maybe his story could end up conforming to the world that Mangold lays down in terms of the story concept, looks, designs, and maybe it will be a bit easier for that movie to get off the ground by the fact that they've already designed what the Star Wars looked like 25,000 years ago. Well, the Mangold movie would lay that out for him and them, and then they could move from there. And so like he could always in essence end up being one of the sequels to the Mangold movie, depending on what the concept is and things like that. But of course, I have no idea if it ends up being it's about Kylo Ren, then you're like, well, that's a very specific timeline. You can't fuck with that too much. But if it's all new characters and an all new place, you know. Rob says, I sit on a throne of lies. That's true. And as a trio says, can't stay for long. Shout out to Nick and Bespin. Celebration was much better today. Looking forward to jumping on and talking next week. Yeah, man, you're always welcome, and we're looking forward to when we can hang out, dude. And okay, so Robert Sinclair says, when people stop using the term easy win, we all know nothing is ever that simple or easy. If it were within the studios, it would be turning out easy wins regularly, but they clearly are not. Yeah, so I think what this truly means in the context of easy win, like an Old Republic movie, not going to be easy to make that, regardless of what anybody thinks.
No, it's just fan opinion.
It's an easy pitch to a audience or to the consumer base of Star Wars.
Exactly.
That's
what I meant by that, Robert.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
nobody's saying making a movie, writing a movie, shooting a movie, any of that is easy.
Yeah.
No. But you're in a room full of fucking Star Wars fans. There's 5,000 of us in that room. You tell them, we're going to make a movie about the first Jedi. A large segment of those fans are going to be over the moon. You tell them that Rey is coming back and they're developing the Jedi Academy movie. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are going to be happy in that room. And then Filoni's going to do a movie to, you know, cross over all these series that he's been developing for multiple years, which has been carrying Star Wars for the past 4 years. People are going to be over the moon. It is an easy win for that crowd, for that audience.
It's an easy hook. Like every single time, like for instance, let's just pretend, I don't know, the Snaggletooth movie is announced tomorrow, or the Snaggletooth series. When I put that article out, or you put that article out, or I do the video, whatever, someone will respond, why aren't they just doing the Old Republic movie? That's all I want.
If
these other movies, yeah.
If they came out yesterday and brought Ryan on stage and said, his trilogy's happening,
mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, as Pevy went into that like place, mm-hmm. He they were asking on stage what people's favorite movies. He said The Last Jedi, and people said to him, "You're brave," and like questioned him for that. Mm-hmm. Like, if you put Ryan, that audience will cheer, but that's a divisive movie. Mm-hmm. You know, like you know, the idea of bringing Ryan back is a divisive one.
Yeah,
you know, amongst
Ryan
fans.
Needs to be announced with a premise.
Yeah, he announcing Ryan Johnson to come back and helm Star Wars for a trilogy, which would be 6 years. That's not an easy win. Yeah. Like, I mean, you look at the internet today, and some people are complaining about the Rey movie because they don't like Rey. Okay, whatever, and you don't like the sequels, but those people are probably praising the idea of the first Jedi movie, mm-hmm. or the Filoni movie.
And they're all going to go see it because they want to be up on the discourse so that they can criticize it online and get an identity out of that.
Like the articles I shared today, I shared the Taika one, and people responded to that negatively, because negatively and positively. That's a divisive movie because the ones who were negative towards it is just based off of Thor Ragnarok.
Because it's the only Kenobi Taika movie they've ever seen. And and they don't realize that he directed that episode of Mando that got them all really, really hooked into it too.
Same thing for Kenobi. I shared the Kenobi article, mixture of positive and negative. Mm-hmm. Kenobi as a series, at least for fans, was, a mixed bag. I know I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Nick hates it. And again, that's not an easy win. Kenobi, the first time around, telling people we're going to make a Kenobi movie or series,
easy
before
win.
You saw it, easy win.
Easy hook.
Yeah. So that is just what I'm talking about. It's easy win in terms of PR and winning over a room and winning over an audience. The process of making a movie or series is very difficult.
When I started up the YouTube channel, in like, you know, a more serious way. I did like an episode and I was just like, what do you guys want me to go after? You know, and I talked about what was on the docket of the day, and even films, and people were like, it was Kenobi. The Kenobi series was overwhelmingly what people wanted. And so it's like that's like the whole thing about it is it has to like cater to the hardcore fans, but also that like stupid guy who has a Star Wars shirt from Target who will go spend money on the movie and thinks he's a Star Wars fan, but doesn't know a fucking thing about what he's talking about or Star Wars or anything. Like you have to like make it where those people are just like instantly, that elevator pitch, as they call it, needs to be really fucking succinct, tight, and easy just to convey in a tweet. And then if you can do that, then the movie's going to be, you know, it's not an uphill battle to sell it. But this one. So this one, here's another one that's never, well, I think this will eventually happen, just like another Kenobi thing will eventually happen in reality, but not anytime soon, I don't think. Star Wars Rogue Squadron has not been shelved and could release as a series. Okay. So, as always, you can support Bespin on Coffee. All right. Following the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase, Kathleen Kennedy spoke with IGN briefly about the slate of projects shown and announced at the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase. But IGN also poked and prodded about past projects that didn't make it onto the slate and asked if those projects had been shelved, which many have reportedly been. But Kennedy was quick to shut down those claims, telling IGN, well, they haven't been shelved. Most things haven't been shelved. Development is a complicated and long-term process. And with some people, we're dealing with scheduling because obviously really talented people are working. It's often not a shelving. It's more, is it ready? Though she didn't say it explicitly, it felt that as if Kennedy's comments were targeted at the untitled movie being directed by Taika Waititi, Thor: Love and Thunder, along with a limited Lando series starring Donald Glover, which Kennedy said was definitely still happening, and that Glover is very excited to play Lando Calrissian once again. As the interview progressed, IGN asked if scheduling was the issue, with not getting the Kevin Feige produced Star Wars movie off the ground yet, despite the project supposedly coming to fruition back in 2019, to which Kathleen Kennedy said, Kevin Feige's project was something that was announced by the press or fandom. And she's lying right here, by the way. But there was nothing, or she's mistaken. There was never, or nothing ever got developed, and we never discussed an idea. As everybody knows, Kevin is a huge Star Wars fan, as he did come up with something. And if he did come up with something, I would be all ears. But that's never really happened. It's not abandoned. It just didn't happen. Am I misremembering this, or was there a press release on StarWars.com that announced that it was a thing?
I looked for it. It wasn't there. But Alan Horn confirmed it.
Yeah. Okay. Though Kennedy is correct in slating that it was the first reported by the trades in the Marvel studio, the president was working on a Star Wars movie. Alan Horn, here we go, chief creative officer of Disney, confirmed in September 2019 that Feige was in fact working on a project with Kennedy in the Star Wars universe. Kennedy states that Feige never even approached her with an idea for the movie, which goes against reports from THR from 2019 that claims Feige pitched the idea to Kathleen Kennedy in the summer of that year. And it was reported last year that Michael Waldron Loki had been brought on to write Feige's movie, something he later confirmed. Eventually, we reached the point of Rogue Squadron, a film which was set to be directed by Wonder Woman's Patty Jenkins, which was originally supposed to release this December, but was indefinitely delayed. When asked if Rogue Squadron is still being developed and if Lucasfilm had plans for that film to continue, Kennedy responded, Rogue Squadron, that is definitely something we still talk about. Whether it's a movie or whether it ends up in the series space, that's something we discuss. Personally, I never wanted a Rogue Squadron movie, especially not as the film to reintroduce Star Wars on the big screen following 2019 Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, but I've often said I believed it would work well as a television series and that it would be an exciting draw for Star Wars fans and Disney Plus. So I'm glad that Lucasfilm are seemingly exploring that possibility. See, I have the exact opposite reaction. In that, what we see with like Carson Teva in Star Wars right now. I mean, that's what.
Oh yeah,
that's what the Rogue Squadron on TV movie is going to like. And I like him. I like Carson Teva. I'm not knocking him or anything like that. But what I'm saying is like the highlights of that are probably like we could do it without committing to it, and then I just don't think that the Disney Plus visual effects are ever going to do what that movie would do. But I don't like the idea anyway. I'm not in love with the idea.
I just don't think the idea is like, especially for the first movie back. I don't think it's a big enough idea.
Yeah,
you know, Rey's Jedi Academy, big idea.
Big idea.
Filoni, doing a crossover for all those series, big idea. This isn't. For me, this is like, if it is a series, and again, it doesn't need, like, when I think of Star Wars series, usually I think of the California volume-based stuff. It doesn't need to be that. They can go and do it, like, on location and do things, a lot of it practically, like, take inspiration from Top Gun, I suppose. Like, they spend over $100 million on these series anyway, typically. Like, there's ways to do it, I think. And I do think having a Rogue Squadron series is a good sell for Disney Plus, and I think it's a better sell for Disney Plus than it would be to convince fans to like go and watch Star Wars on the big screen.
Right.
Like I said, Jedi Academy, people are going to go and see it, But I don't think does Rogue Squadron to you sound like $1 billion movie? Because it doesn't to me. Like, I know Top Gun made $1 billion, but that's nostalgia, and that's like it hit a social media wave as well. Like, it became not a meme, like, but
it didn't hurt it.
Like there's stuff like that. I just don't see that happening with Rogue Squadron. Like the last Star Wars movie, like what it made, like 1.2 billion. Like in movies as a whole at the moment, I think it's earning around 30% less.
Yeah.
Or something. So I just don't think that's the idea. Like Jedi Academy, great, go and do that. Like you'll sell tickets, you'll get butts and seats,
Yeah.
But I don't think you get that with Rogue Squadron. But if they want to continue it, if they want to put it as a show, like I'll be there. Like, I'll be there if they put it out as a movie. But I definitely think it's a good idea to at least explore it being a TV series.
Right.
But yeah. And
so I went on my site, found the old report and how it happened. Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige is joining the Star Wars family, according to the Hollywood Reporter. And then the quote, THR reached out to Disney for comment with Alan Horde said the following: "We are excited about the projects Kathy and Lucasfilm team are working on, not only in terms of Star Wars, but Indiana Jones and reaching into other parts of the company, including Children of Blood and Bone with Emma Watts and Fox. With the close of the Skywalker saga, Kathy is pursuing a new era of Star Wars storytelling, and knowing what a diehard fan Kevin is, it made sense for these two extraordinary producers to work together, to work in a Star Wars film together." So that was how it went down.
But she tried to pass the buck, like I said in the article, like she says it's the trades, right?
Yeah,
the trade said it, which is true. They did say it first. Hollywood Reporter put it out.
But it was them and the trades. It was it was you guys.
So
and I mean in a written statement that was like all candy and stuff. So and promoting other things, and so it's like, come on. But maybe she didn't agree with it. Maybe that was Disney and not her, So So I take it back, Kathy. You fucking liar. I know you lie, Kathy. I know. No, I'm kidding. Hey, it's Nick. Nick, hey, thanks for the super chat, Nick. You guys are still going. Me and Baymax said hi. Hey guys. Have a good time. It
was cool to meet Baymax yesterday, like that's another one I met. Like, nice guy,
Nice guy.
Like we had a good conversation after the panel. We just randomly ran into each other, and
Filoni SD said, "Did someone say tight and easy?" Oh no.
The thing is, I just picture Rob here doing this. That's the thing. Yesterday, Filoni was speaking on stage, and at times I just heard Rob's stupid little voice.
I have heard that from people who work with Filoni.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love you. I love Dave Filoni, for the record. I mean, I've been championing him since the Clone Wars. I've been like, you guys need to get off his back, because people hated Filoni when Clone Wars came out. They were like, they wanted to. He was the Kathleen Kennedy of 2009 or whatever that time was.
Because I had most of my time spent looking at my phone, just typing away on the live blog.
Yeah.
And so I could just hear Filoni's voice. I couldn't see him. And then I just had Rob going like, "Oh my god, no way," and all this weird shit, but yeah, I blame Rob for that.
Robert St. Clair says, even when you go for the easy win, people still complain. People always complain, laugh out loud. That's the moral of the story. Easy wins don't exist. Yeah, no, there's always the cruncher, and you're 100% right there. It's just the premise needs to be bigger than the contrarians discourse, because they do kind of make a contrarian Voltron. They all kind of form up and they all get on the same like line together. I mean, look at the Phantom Menace. It's like a thing that happens. So, but when you hear Birth of the Jedi, what the fuck are you gonna complain about that? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I know what you mean though. All right, so okay, so we did that. We did that bad boy. Okay, let's look at the Ahsoka one now. Let's go over to the Ahsoka one. So tidbits and new footage description of Star Wars Ahsoka from the Ahsoka panel, and I will be going over the screenshots of the Ahsoka trailer and the all of the trailers actually that have leaked. I have fairly good copies of them at the moment for most of them, I think, to start to do that now, and I was waiting for the good ones to come to me. So
are we allowed to do that? Because haven't they been getting copyright strike?
If you go and you put the videos of the trailers on here, then you're gonna get taken down. But if you take a bunch of screenshots, you're probably gonna. I've been fine doing it before with Mando. So,
cool.
But I'm also that's why I'm gonna do those as a separate show of just that. That way, if it does get hit, it's well, there you go. But whatever. Earlier today, dedicated Ahsoka series panel at Star Wars Celebration, which our very own was able to attend and share various details. Wait, who was there? Was it you?
Nick.
Oh, old man Nick and Baymax, probably the Nick and Baymax team. As you'd expect, a lot was said, but not a whole lot was said in relation to new news. But we got exciting tidbits and confirmation on reports and rumors. That's me. John Favreau, Dave Filoni, Rosario Dawson. I'm not going to say all these people's names. They were all there. And all took to the stage to talk briefly about their experience working on the series, their love of Star Wars, and how Star Wars Rebels influenced their performances. And there she is. So I wanted to ask you, how you feeling about the Hera look?
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
I said it yesterday. Yeah.
No, I said it yesterday when they showed the first picture. I was like, no, it's just something's not right. It doesn't even look like Mary Elizabeth Winstead to me either. And then today when I saw this picture, I was like, no, I still don't see it. I saw emotion obviously in the Ahsoka trailer, and it's just it's not working for me. And some people afterwards, and they were like, yeah, they were saying about the Twi'leks, something isn't looking right with them at the moment in live action, and specifically the Filoni Favreau stuff.
Right.
That something doesn't look right anymore. Something looks a bit off, and Hera doesn't look quite right to me.
It just everything looks like she just bought it. It's kind of one of the problems with it, And it's but
it looks like she's just wearing face paint though. It doesn't even look like this.
Yeah.
Her skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where when it goes a little more human looking, like the one in Book of Boba Fett, Flashdance, she looked great. That one kind of works, but it's going to be interesting to see if how this plays, and if I just sort of fall into it and accept it as I watch and am sucked into the story, or if it continually takes me out of it. But it could look worse, but I think it could look a lot better too. So Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays Hera Syndulla, we exclusively reported she was last year, confirmed that when we pick up her character, she is a general of the New Republic and has assumed a motherly role. Natasha Bordizzo revealed that she trained relentlessly for months after watching Star Wars Rebels, and she didn't feel like a fraud. So she didn't feel like a fraud when she finally got down to don the Sabine Wren costume. So let me ask you this. So we got two hairstyles here, right? We got the short hair, we got the long hair. Do you think we start with short hair like the Star Wars Rebels cartoon?
No.
And then she cuts it before they go out to the New Beyond? Or do you think we start with long hair because she's just been living in society for a time and then she cuts it, or it goes the other way. Do you think?
Yeah, I think she starts with Long. In the Ahsoka trailer, Ahsoka comes to her and says like, something's changed. There's something dark coming.
Mm-hmm.
Thrawn is coming. He's coming back, and I think that kicks her into action because throughout the trailer we see her like, it seems like she's longing for Ezra. With her long hair. So
she's way horny for him now. She's like, damn,
yeah.
I didn't know what I had back then.
So yeah, I think that's how it goes. I think that's how it starts. Is she's got the long hair, and again, you said I think in one of your articles that Sabine has some stuff that she needs to deal with before she takes Ahsoka up on her offer and goes out there to find Ezra.
Right.
And I think that could be New Republic stuff, but I also think that is personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mental. And I think that's why she looks the way she does. I think she looks fantastic. I think she looks great.
Mm-hmm.
When we saw this for the first time yesterday, like we were all talking and we were like, yeah, like we really like that look on her.
Mm-hmm.
We were saying that, yeah, like, but again, Natasha Leo Badizzo, she's incredible looking human being.
Yeah.
So you put any look on her, she'll look great. She'll make it work.
Right here in this screenshot, she's wondering what it's like for ugly people. She's like, I wonder what it's like for the uglies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we haven't seen her look like this on Sabine before. So yeah. I like it. I like this look a lot.
So what if she has long hair? Then she cuts it, goes out to battle, to save him. And she's like, Ezra, I love you. And he's like, sorry, I like girls with long hair. Twist. Yeah. No, okay. Anyways, it's not 5th grade. As the panel continued, Chopper was brought out on stage where Rosario Dawson revealed that throughout the series, Chopper has beef with various other droids, and that we'll see his hatred for Lothcats. And speaking of droids, it was confirmed that David Tennant, Doctor Who, will be reprising the role of Huyang from Star Wars Rebels and also the Clone Wars, and will be voicing the character once again in the Ahsoka series. And I gotta say, Emmy award-winning. Bespin, did you know that? Emmy award-winning on the Clone Wars. He won an Emmy.
Listen, as you can tell, I rushed this shit because I didn't link my stuff on your stuff.
Emmy.
Yeah. Emmy.
And then right here,
I missed the easy win, Jason.
Right here, I feel like, I don't know, what is this? Like a kink power couple?
Yeah.
Is it daddy and baby girl? And they're here for a wild vacation. No maid service. I don't know what that is. All right. As we moved past our leading characters and the Ghost crew, we finally came face to face with the lightsaber wielding bad guys from the series. Ray Stevenson, Vikings, and Ivana Sakno, Pacific Rim, took to the stage to announce the names of their characters. Stevenson will be playing Baylan Skull, and Sakno plays Shin Hottie, because she's a hottie. Both who work, is that Hottie? Is that how you say it? I don't know.
Is that the Hottie or Haiti? I don't really know.
Yeah. Oh, where's the Making Star Wars love, huh? Come on.
That's what I said. I wrote this in a rush
because I got the spelling wrong. Because I got the spelling wrong. You're not giving it to me. I know you're a stickler for spelling. Both of who work for Morgan Elsbeth's character, who is deeply loyal to Grand Admiral Thrawn. Stevenson and Sakno were forbidden by series creator Dave Filoni from speaking any further about their exciting new characters. Just go to MakingStarWars.net, guys. I got a lot. Got a lot of them. As everything related to them is a spoiler. However, Filoni did reveal that the Ahsoka stunt coordinator Ming Kuai plays a villainous role in the series, though the name of the character was not shared, but a photo was, which you can see below. Now, this Inquisitor that she's playing, is this one? Is this that one that was like with the fifth brother and stuff in the temple? Or
I don't know. It looks like the eighth brother. Some people have said. This is the night thing that I was talking about, like the helmet. I had never seen the body of it. I'd only seen the helmet, and it's a lightsaber. When the lightsaber is an Inquisitor lightsaber, it was like the circle hilt thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. They didn't give any details on it. Like this character, I think, is also in the trailer from yesterday. Really quickly.
Yeah, it's the one who Ahsoka pushes, and she kind of like do that force push with the slide back?
Yeah, and again, from my understanding, that's all the early stuff that is pre-adventure to find Ezra. So as we were talking about, was it last week or the week before about the Lego sets and when they could take place in the series? I think we came to the conclusion of all three of those sets up within the first 4 episodes. Because even in the trailer, we see this character, the Inquisitor, fighting Ahsoka. We see Ahsoka's starfighter coming under attack by Shin, and Shin is in that starfighter set specifically, as is Balon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we don't know much about this character. I thought and hoped they kind of would have expanded on it a little bit, especially when they turned their attention to the stunt coordinator, but they didn't. They really didn't give any information. They just showed this image.
Because they're going to be selling this toy. So they were like, this needs to come out. This needs to be one of the things that we put out. I'm of the opinion right now, based off of everything I think I know and the trailer, obviously now, that what we have Ahsoka sneaking around Morgan Elsbeth's shipyard. And that this is Morgan Elsbeth's Inquisitor, and that Morgan and the Imperial Remnant have their own Inquisitors. There's Inquisitors who survived and are Imperial loyalists who didn't just die out. And we thought it was probably wiped out because we never had any of these guys going after Luke Skywalker that I could recall and stuff like that. So we kind of always assumed that was that. But I'm guessing now they're just going to change the story and make it where they did still exist, and there was just kind of like the program was waning a bit, and Darth Vader said, "Don't go after Luke; he's mine." It might just be, might just be something like that. At the end of the day, but that's my working theory until they set us straight, or a source who's listening who knows will tell us. That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. As the panel neared its end, Dave Filoni announced that the composer of Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, Kevin Kiner, would be scoring the Ahsoka series to fans' delight. Filoni also shared the list of directors helming the Ahsoka series, which of course includes Dave Filoni himself, as well as Peter Ramsey, Rick Famuyiwa, The Mandalorian, Steph Green, The Book of Boba Fett, Gita Patel, House of the Dragon. I got that one. And Jennifer Getzinger, Jessica Jones. I didn't know about the Jessica Jones, Jennifer Getzinger one. I didn't know about her.
Also, another Netflix hire.
Another Netflix hire. Okay. All right. So Netflix better watch out.
Yeah, she did Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Dead to Me.
Okay.
Even Gita Patel, she did.
Yeah.
I think she did Dead to Me too, and a couple other Netflix shows. This is a thing we've been talking about now for months. Is they're going after like Netflix talent.
Right. To close out the panel, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau announced that those in attendance would be getting an alternate trailer to the one released to the general public yesterday, which they described as a remix. And as you can imagine, the vast majority of the trailer was what was shown yesterday. But quick new shots included in the remix trailer included the faces of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which confirmed that Lars Mikkelsen will reprise the role of Grand Admiral Thrawn after voicing the character in Star Wars Rebels. A speeder chase on Lothal, Sabine Wren using Ezra Bridger's green lightsaber. That's a confirmation of one of my reports, actually. In combat against Shin, also part of my report. And Sabine flying alongside the Purrgil. Hey. Ahsoka will release sometime in August on Disney+. So, yeah.
The chase on Lothal, by the way, I think is Sabine. She's being chased by an enemy we can't see.
Okay. That makes sense. And then you didn't want to put the shot in your article, I guess. So I will throw it up. I made this one. I took the original one and I put the color about to what I thought he was when I saw him back in the day from memory, because that image that's going around is like way overexposed. So I just darkened it and until it got like more to the right color. And yes, it is Elon Musk as Thrawn. Yes, it is Data as Thrawn. Those are the two I keep hearing: Elon Musk and Data. But it looks more like Elon Musk when you get down to it.
Too much like Elon Musk.
But once again, though,
it's literally Twitter blue. Look at him.
Twitter blue. It will look Star Wars Twitter blue. Get the badge. Anyways, it turns out that this is not the best screenshot that could have come out for him. He's like mid-sentence and everything like that. Once again, it's don't know what they're thinking. It's like just show it, man. And when you do show it, people will be like, yeah, I've already seen this before.
Yeah.
So, that's where we're at. And then we're doing this well out of order at this point because I moved this one.
Oh yeah, we're all over the place, but it's fine.
But yeah, so let's just get into your thing here because I think you have some points that we might have missed. Lucasfilm ended the Star Wars segment of the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase with an almighty bang by officially announcing not one, not two, but three brand new films. One, of course, is helmed by Mrs. Marvel's Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, which has been reported by various outlets for more than 6 months and has been in development for over a year. In addition,
I just want to I haven't changed it, but Kathy said it's been in development for 2 years.
Okay, for 2 years. All right, cool. So Obaid-Chinoy. So that's another check mark for that being the next one. Kathleen Kennedy brought none other than Dave Filoni onto the stage in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny director James Mangold, confirming Mangold and Filoni would also be helming individual Star Wars movies. Kathleen Kennedy started off by revealing that the next slate of films would not be part of a new saga, but taking place across various timelines. The earliest of which will be helmed by James Mangold, whose movie will focus on the first Jedi and the origins of the Force. Mangold didn't reveal much regarding his movie, but did share that it's set 25,000 years ago and described it as biblical and inspired by Ben-Hur. Kathleen Kennedy revealed that his past work and his work on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny has been so good, it felt like a no-brainer to allow Mangold to tackle Star Wars. James Mangold, according to Kennedy, has been bringing up the idea of him handling a Star Wars project for years. And recently he pitched her on the idea which she loved and got him talking with Dave Filoni, where it was agreed that Mangold's vision warrants him getting a much desired Star Wars flick, which he'll both write and direct. And then next up was Dave Filoni, whose film will act as the crossover event of the various television series he's executive produced over the last few years, including The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and the Book of Boba Fett. Little details were added, but it'll follow the battle between the New Republic and the Imperial Remnant, and of course, it may feature many characters seen across the multiple series Filoni has produced alongside Jon Favreau, who will also be producing on this film. Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau praised Filoni to the high heavens throughout the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase, with Kennedy later saying that Dave Filoni has been building towards directing his own live-action Star Wars movie for over 10 years.
Before you move on to the next thing, what I mean, they praise him throughout the entire fucking thing. They praise him through the entire fucking thing. It started off, and me and Pevy were looking at each other, grinning, and say, oh, we know what's coming, we know why they're doing this. But they kept doing it, and they kept going and going and going, and it was like, oh yeah, they're definitely hyping us up. So when this man comes up with a movie, everybody's just going to be screaming. And it was relentless. Honestly, the way they talked about him was like he's the genius there. He's bringing everything together. They said every actor, every writer, director, anybody, they're all talking with Filoni. He inspires everything that's going on there. They basically all but saying he is George Lucas now, at that point. And they really, really sung his praises. And again, apparently they did it today at the Ahsoka panel again.
Right.
So, yeah.
Hey, rightfully so. I mean, he knows his stuff. So, I mean, it would be worse if he wasn't there for sure. So,
yeah, definitely.
By a long mile. So, lastly, we have Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy's movie. The flick will take place 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, and will focus on Daisy Ridley's Rey forging a new Jedi Academy. Daisy Ridley herself took to the stage to fans' delight, but unfortunately did not share any additional details regarding the project. However, Kathleen Kennedy told IGN that the Jedi are in disarray, with many questions who they are and what they stand for, with Rey Skywalker tackling the task of rebuilding the Jedi Order with the knowledge of the books she's read and her promise to Luke Skywalker, with Luke's presence being felt within Rey throughout the movie. Because they were she says there won't be Force ghosts and stuff like that. She was saying they shouldn't think, they didn't know, but she was probably not. And but one of the things that's come to into my mind about the project and stuff is when a source of mine at Lucasfilm, when we were talking about this film a while ago, they were telling me like it's going to have like a new ensemble cast, and it will have like characters in it, and then like that was out and stuff like that. Like we knew that, but then when this comes out, it's like Rey is the protagonist is what they're making us think right now, and I'm starting to wonder if Lindelof turned in his film with Rey being, Obi-Wan Kenobi to it, and like there was more of the vibe that they wanted Rey to be the protagonist. And then that's where Lindelof's like, that's not really what I want to do. That's not really what I think is the right answer. So I'm going to leave this to you guys now and say goodbye. I'm kind of wondering if that's what happened.
It also makes you wonder about the like they said that Lindelof had already cast the two leads, like it was two black actors, right? Well, an actor and an actress.
Yeah,
that he'd already been cast, and they did not come out, did they? They did not announce anybody. They've just brought out Daisy Ridley, and Snyder also said we would get a title, which again, like things have changed with that movie, so maybe like plans have changed, and I think that's definitely the case.
Yeah,
I'm not questioning Snyder.
You might not want to title something before you have a final something closer to a final draft, right?
And they wouldn't tie it to 2025, like they did say this is coming out, blah blah. Like they clearly are just working with what they have and seeing which product develops the fastest, and and
but I also I don't have any. Once again I'll say it, like I respect the guy's work. I think his shit's real. I think like stuff, but like also you've dealt with sources and I've dealt with sources, and sometimes sources can be fucking the most intelligent on people, and sometimes they can have some bad takes. They're human too. And so like some of the stuff that like about that still like kind of like makes me like kind of scratch my head is like, for instance, like Obey Chinoy is brought on to direct it, and he's not the executive producer, but then he's hiring cast. There's this shit that I can't get my head around. That just doesn't really compute. That doesn't also really make sense to me.
For the age range they were casting, it seems, for at least the male actor, they were looking for like full-on adult men. They weren't looking at like people who were like Padawan age or even like young adult. They were looking for grown ass men like to play that role, it seems. So, and again, like they were the two leads of the movie, but like the way they've put Rey on a pedestal for this one, it's like as if she's got a really large role, perhaps even the leading role in this movie now.
Let's be real, if they were wavering at all about that choice, they got the answer that Rey needs to be the protagonist of this film. If they want to kiss the audience's ass, if they care, which I think they do. So I think that they will. So
if you also think back to the original reports, through the trades, it was like a sequel trilogy may be part of it.
Yeah,
like they were toning it down, say like it may be part of it. Maybe we'll get them as, I don't know, a cameo towards the end or something. Like
they were just saying they would be a part of it, but they weren't. It was what do they call it? An opportunity, I believe. Yeah. So it's, and then that's what makes us go, yeah, it's Rey might show up at the end of the film with her yellow lightsaber and save the day or something, right? Like that's where your head goes. But
yeah, like if the two the two leads that we had, if they were both force sensitive and whatnot, and then by the end they come into contact with Rey, it's like, well, I can help you, I can help train you and hone your powers, and like that's the I think that changed. I think they really wanted Rey to have a much larger role, and it's probably smart. Like the amount of people, like even the celebration yesterday, who was dressed as Rey, like there's far more people dressed as like Rey and even Kylo than there are as original trilogy characters.
Right.
Yeah. Like it's all Ahsokas and Bo-Katans and Cals and Merrins. Like there's hardly any original trilogy cast. So people will say what they want about the sequels, but it's still very popular with like with the general audience. You know what I mean? And even like the hardcore Star Wars fans, like there's just a subsection that hate them, and that's fair enough. Like you can have your opinions on it, like, and
that's why I'm a little surprised by like Pevy saying Last Jedi was his favorite film, and somebody told him he was brave or whatever. Because like I'm not even, as chance would have it, yesterday I was wearing my Last Jedi shirt, and which is also the Celebration Last Jedi shirt, just a coincidence. I picked up the kids yesterday, and I go to get them a bag of chips, and we get a drink, and as I'm walking out, this guy's like blah 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 blah. I'm like, what? And he's all, I like your shirt, dude. I'm like, thanks, man. But I mean, like, so it's like, I never, maybe it's because I'm like not a little guy, like six, almost 6'1", and I'm wearing like a last, a Star Wars shirt. Maybe when people do encounter me, they only say the good thing of the shirt I have on. Not that I'm a scary guy or anything, but you know what I mean? Like but I've never heard anybody go like, oh my God, that one was an SJW. But that shit never happens to me in real life. It never has. But on the internet, I could like literally invite it by just writing Ryan with R-I-A-N.
They played a montage before the panel started.
Yeah.
The studio showcase. And it was just filled with obviously like just Star Wars footage or whatever, throughout the movies and the shows.
Right.
A lot of Lost Jedi stuff in there. Very, very, very little Rise of Skywalker stuff in there.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because they had a lot of Force Awakens, a lot of Lost Jedi, original trilogy prequels, but hardly anything from Tross.
Yeah.
I don't know if they kind of want people to kind of forget and move on. But they didn't want to, rejig our memories yesterday with it.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it was kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons. I mean, on one hand, if we just want to look at it like beyond, like just take out like the critical analysis of how anybody feels about the movie, good or bad. The movie was marketed like that's the end, you guys. Like you guys need to come see this movie because this is it. This is the end of Rey's story. And on the day that you're like announcing Rey's story is continuing, you don't necessarily want to remind people about how you marketed and what you sold them just 2, 3, 4 years ago, whatever it's been now. So it's like I could kind of see like maybe there's something to that too, about maybe focusing on when the story was alive and vibrant and continuing. But who knows? Arya asks, Arya gives me 20 Donkey Kong bucks. Thank you, Arya. Did nobody record the Ahsoka teaser? 0 footage out. So far, all I have seen is that the couple of pictures from it that the people got.
People filmed it. It's fine.
The whole thing is out?
It.
Yeah.
No, we might see it. We know somebody who might have
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if that person who we know who might have got it, they need to send it to me. And Arya, I will.
I think he's out drinking, wouldn't they? To be fair.
They're probably drunk right now. So yeah.
Hey, Nick always promised me this coffee money that would be repaid to me in drinks.
Yeah. Okay, how many drinks did you get last night?
None.
None?
No.
He didn't even sneak in a 40.
No.
What's a 40 for you guys? Because we're 40 ounces, so you guys are something else, right? You guys don't have 40s.
Well, we don't have them in the convention center. Like they would just overcharge.
Oh no, you got to put that like under your shirt and take it in.
No, we weren't doing that. Like they didn't even do bag checks though, so we probably could have.
Yeah.
Like they were checking anything, man. Like we could have. Like they didn't check our badges. They didn't check our bags. Nothing.
Right. Yeah, they did that in 2019, and it was just a big waste of time, But we'll see. Dave, hey, how's it going, Dave? Dave says, sorry, got here really late. Jason, you reported maybe a year ago that DR and KK had lunch like a year ago, and it was reported that they were having friendly lunch, and Rey definitely was not coming back. Oh, that Lucasfilm. Yeah, well, at that point, Rey wasn't coming back, and that's probably what that was, though. It probably was the start of it coming back, but yeah. 40 ounce equals, and he's all 60 million milliliters. Some shit. Okay. And then, so that was that one. And we got one more. Share this tab instead. All right. So it's up there. There we go. And
that's just is this the thing that we need to cover?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember. It's the actual trailer. But yeah.
It's just the trailer one.
Yeah. Just the trailer. All right. Yeah.
Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, any of those?
Skeleton Crew. Well, yeah, and then wait, do you have is there actually do you have a Skeleton Crew article up that I didn't see? Okay.
There's a Skeleton Crew, there's an Acolyte. The only one I haven't done is Andor.
Okay.
Also, the Andor thing was kind of boring.
Yeah,
like,
I got
good, but it's
I
like
I have a really good copy of that one.
Yeah.
And it's
like what do you talk about in it? It's just a lot of close-ups and like people walking. There's not a lot to work out. Yeah, they go back to Ferrex. It seems that me and you've talked about before because I was like, they looks like there's a Ferrex set at Pinewood.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about that before. Like, there's not a lot. Like Bix sleeps with a blast in her bed. Like that makes sense considering what she's been through. Vel has red hair now. Like Cassian has a slick look at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The most interesting thing about the Andor thing is that when they brought the cast out, they specifically said this is your cast for Andor season 2, and Andy Serkis was there.
Yeah.
Like he was on the stage, and they said this is the season 2 cast.
Right.
So they confirmed he is doing season 2, which was a rumor like last week. So
yeah, was it the Rancor guys in Spanish Rancor site who got
Perdidos and Hoth? Yeah.
Oh, and Hoth.
Yeah.
Perdidos and Hoth, I think, were the ones who had that. So, all right. So, following an intriguing teaser for Andor, Lucasfilm Studio Showcase panel moved on to the mysterious and exciting project created by Leslie Headland, the Acolyte. Headland was introduced to the stage alongside a fully costumed Wookiee Jedi. Missing an E on that Wookiee, bud. More on him later. To a thunderous
applause. My phone just autocorrects it for some reason because I've done it so often.
Yeah. Headland talked a little about the series, not giving much away, but emphasized that part of the reason she wanted to tell a story in the High Republic era is because the Jedi are all powerful and the Sith are low in numbers and thus the underdog due to there being such a small dark side threat. Headland said that that the wars waged in the Acolyte would be spiritual, and those battles could be between siblings, parents and children, and master and apprentice. Headland went on to say that she actually pitched the Acolyte to Kathleen Kennedy, and that part of her pitch was describing the series as Frozen meets Kill Bill, and that the perspective would be from that of the villains. Kathleen Kennedy jumped into to praise the work of Leslie Headland and revealed that she has now seen 4 completed episodes of The Acolyte, and she was simply blown away by what she had seen. As the panel continued, cast members of The Acolyte were brought onto stage. The series led Amanda Stenberg, bodies, who was dressed as Padme Amidala. She looked good too. From Attack of the Clones, Lee Jung-jae, Squid Game, Daphne Keane, Logan, Charlie Barnett. There's a lot of people, and a lot more people, and Jonas and a lot more people took to the stage, with Jonas revealing that he was the Wookiee that stepped on stage with Headland at the start of the Acolyte segment, revealing that he plays a character named Kelnaka. Kelnaka, it sounds like Chewbacca. Okay, so there we go. The cast did not reveal any details regarding their characters. Jung-jae was specifically asked the name of his character, but he just referred to him as Jedi Master before discussing his love of the Star Wars franchise. However, during Saturday's High Republic panel, it was revealed that Rebecca Henderson's character in Acolyte is named Vernesta Rowe, a character taken from the various High Republic media. And we saw there's a picture of her floating around. Have you seen it?
There's a picture of her now. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in the trailer. She's the one who opens the door, I think.
Okay. As the Acolyte segment started to wind down, Headland revealed that the series is currently still filming and will wrap next month, with plans to release the series sometime in 2024. However, Headland wanted to give fans in the room a first look at the series, despite production ongoing. Which I'm happy and surprised that they did.
Oh yeah, like I didn't think they'd show us. I thought they'd just show us like maybe some pictures. Yeah. That's what they were doing as it was going along. And you can see the place in Wales that they filmed in, at least one part of it,
right?
Where I got chased by Buggy Man.
You're not made for what do you say? You're not made for this.
I ain't built for this. You know?
I ain't built for this.
So this a character scaling like a wall with like forest area behind it. That's the area.
That's the area.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that the area where like there was like a reservoir you mentioned before, or something like that?
Yeah, like so the area where you used to have a reservoir and it was like all drained like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so that's where it would have been. So I assume that's what they're scaling.
Mm-hmm.
And they then like I saw like a lot of water trucks up there, and they did put water back in this area and like covered it with like dry ice and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they use the area for like multiple things because I even think there's other stuff in there. Like you see like a forested area where all the Jedi are at the end, which could be it as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah.
But it also looks like we're jumping around timeline wise maybe because Jung Jae throughout that trailer has long hair for most of it, whereas
Right.
when we saw him in Wales in the set photos, he had shorter hair. So I think
I think that's a flashback because Stenberg's wearing like wasn't she in some of that stuff when we got those photo leaks of her too, and she was like a little Padawan
her hair is shorter, yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know because he has a metal hand when he's in Brecon, when he's in Wales.
Yeah.
I don't remember him having a metal hand in the trailer.
Interesting. Yeah, that's food for thought.
Because her hair is different as well. Like, but we see one of the. No, I said I think she's like either a witch or like royalty, which should look like a Stenberg and like those other characters were like guarding her.
Yeah.
Like it was a Zabrak woman, right?
Right. Yeah.
We see her quickly in the trailer, right? Like, but that's the only scene we see of that. Like every time we see Stenberg, she has the long, like dreads, whereas when we seen her in Wales, she had the short ones, but she's wearing the same clothes.
Right.
So I don't know if Stenberg cuts her hair. Like all the stuff we saw is like the really early stuff,
and
then like she cuts her hair, like Jung Jae, like he cuts his hair. Like I don't know, like.
But there's definitely a time jump somewhere. Probably, I don't think they all go to supercuts together. So so I think it's definitely going to infer that there's a time jump in the show of some kind. I mean, other way you cut it, but yeah, it would be weird if he oh, you know what it is, dude. Actually remember looking at the photo. Now that I think about it, and I don't think he has a robot hand. I think he has gloves. I think he has High Republic armor on his hands. Yeah. So
but his hair was still different. His
hair is different. So I think that would still explain the time jump though. The robot, it's not like he has a robot hand and a flesh hand. I'm pretty sure that was just like armor. So
yeah,
something like that. But we'll have to like go back and look at those photos again and like reassess it. But I think I remember coming to the conclusion it was armor.
Yeah.
So the trailer opens with Lee Jung Jae's Jedi Master teaching a group of younglings inside the Jedi Temple. The trailer cuts to a mysterious purple hooded figure from behind, making their way through a bustling town.
Which is the set photos I had of Shinfield with that like
the drone photos,
like
right?
the archway. Yeah, it was like the archway she walks through in this. There's the town they had in Arborfield Green, which is this place as well.
Right. The mysterious figure walks into a bar of some sort, and we see them targeting a character played by Carrie Ann Moss, who appears to be a Jedi. The mysterious figure is revealed to the series to be the series lead, Amanda Stenberg, who's sporting red dreadlocks, black cloth mask, a metal plate on her chest, and what appears to be chainmail beneath as she swings a small dagger in an attempt to kill Moss. But Carrie Ann dodges every swing with ease. The trailer continues to show us Charlie Barnett's character using the Force, complete in the recognizable white and gold robes of the High Republic era Jedi.
That was specifically fucking written for Chris.
For Chris Spreezy right here.
Yeah.
White and gold robes of the High Republic era Jedi. We see two Nemodians aboard a starship in a quick shot, interspliced with Stenberg's character creeping around corners. Creepy. And Jung Jae's continuing to teach the younglings. Stenberg whips out her dagger and swings it at an unknown character as Charlie Barnett ignited a yellow lightsaber whilst exploring caverns. Yeah. We see as Rebecca Henderson's Jedi character with white and gold robes opening a door in a Jedi temple with the Force, and Manny Jacinto's character looking disheveled, peeking around a corner. Joni Turner-Smith's character is it's Turner, right? Is it Tuner or Tuner? Turner.
It's Turner. I just fucked it up because
Okay.
I was very tired.
Just making, yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just making sure I'm not saying it wrong. Turner characters is seen looking regal in what appears to be her follows the open their hands in front of her as she walks through them. We see Stenberg swing at Moss once again with her trusted dagger, which is blocked by the Force. You can't use the Force on a dagger. Come on. We see Lee Jung Jae, Charlie Bartnett, and an unknown female character, all Jedi, walking up a snowy mountain in the midst of a blizzard. And then in the final shot of the trailer, sees Lee Jung Jae and 7 other Jedi ignite their lightsabers in a Force location. So, yeah. So I'm curious as to what the Kill Bill aspect of this one is going to be. You know, like Carrie Ann Moss seems to be the person who made her life not what she hoped it would be, right? That's a safe assumption.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an assumption.
That's the Kill Bill aspect of it.
Yeah.
You know, it looked good. Like, I know, like, there's leaked trailers of it and whatnot, but they definitely don't do it justice, especially Skeleton Crew. Right. The Acolyte, the Acolyte stuff was weird as it was happening because they asked Jung Jae like multiple times the name of his character, and he wouldn't say it. Like, right. He doesn't speak English. He had a translator.
Yeah.
And you know, he just didn't say his name. Like, and right. they said it to him multiple times. He just didn't say it. It was weird. Also, I don't know if Daphne Keane and Charlie Barnett's characters spent like a ton of time with each other in the show, but they had like real chemistry on stage. Okay. Like, we got out and we were talking about them, and like, I think it was probably like they must be fucking, because their chemistry was like really nailed on.
Yeah. By the way, it turns out in this era of the Jedi Order, you're not allowed to love, but you were allowed to Force fuck. That's permitted. Oh. Yeah, if you read the books, you'd know that. But you have to read the books to know that. So that's probably what you were sensing there.
But you could really feel it between them, you know.
Yeah.
And like Pevy couldn't work out who the girl was, Daphne Keane. And once he figured out it was Logan, his face like lit up, like all happy, positive. And then he was sunken and was like, "I shouldn't feel what I feel." You know?
I know. No, I whenever you go to look up featured images, like the actor for featured images, and like her Instagram photos come up, I'm like, come on, man, aren't you like 15 or something? And then it's like, oh no, she grew up. Logan grew up. All right, so anything else that we should hit on Ahsoka? I mean, on Acolyte, not Ahsoka.
Not a lot. It was very weird how they were treating that thing in the room. Like, it seems as if they were pressing for information. They did the same thing with Ando, actually. They kept saying like, "Oh, this can't be the end. They can't be the end of Ando." Like, they kept saying it, and they almost felt like he was gonna just say, "No, there's a season 3." Yeah. That's how it felt, because they said it multiple times to him, and it wasn't just said in like a normal way. It was like clearly a phoned in, like, I don't know. It was very weird how
it was like part of the script, kind of, is what you're saying. Like, it was.
Yeah, it was part of the script, and it was just very strange. Like, and it was definitely part of the script, because I was watching the monitor on the wall. Like, I knew what was coming before, like, it was put on the script, like put on the stage.
Yeah,
and it was all in there. Like, other than what the actors and the talent said. So you'd see all the questions, like, from Kathy and what Kathy's supposed to say and the host, and there'd be nothing from the actors and the talent. So they were sticking to the script and asking Gilroy, like, this isn't the end of it. Surely the second season can't be the end. And they did it multiple times to him.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it was very odd. Like I said, it was weird when they did to Jung Jae, like, trying to get his character name. It was weird when they did it to Gilroy, and it was like, it honestly felt like they were going to announce the 3rd season of Andor, like, in how that question was going. So, Yeah.
Yeah, like with Jung Jed, there might have been maybe he was allowed to say his name, and then he just didn't, or you know what I mean, like something was lost in translation and he didn't say
Yeah,
it.
because they've given the names of like 2 characters in that show now, like over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe they could have given his name. I don't know, but he just refers to him as Jedi Master.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So the description of the Star Wars Skeleton Crew trailer shown at Celebration. So, despite the Lucasfilm studio showcase at Celebration, during the Lucasfilm studio showcase at Celebration, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy brought out Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to discuss the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. They showed audience in the room a handful of minutes from season 3, episode 7, which saw Ella Kane in the underbelly of Coruscant, Ella Kane, whatever, equipped with the Blade Runner-esque visuals, down to the Deckard trench coat, met with an Imperial probe droid, which launched a hologram of Moff Gideon. Gideon and Kane conversed, with Kane revealing that Gideon's plan to use the pirates to attack Navarro had failed due to a mission led by Bo-Katan Kryze. Gideon, frustrated with matters, decided to take things into his own hands. The Moff meets with the Shadow Council, a group of other high-ranking Imperials who take orders from Grand Admiral Thrawn.
As he's walking into this room, he's walking past all of the point guards that you reported on.
Yeah.
You see them all. There's about 6 of them as he walks past. And I don't know if it's out. That I assume it's out.
They're clones?
They're clones of him.
Yeah.
Like the clones of him, and they're an evolution of the Dark Trooper, which means there was Gideons in the Dark Troopers somehow.
Kinda.
Like,
sounds like it.
Yeah. And this then also correlates back to the Pershing episode, where when he was on stage talking about when he's giving his TED talk about he was working for an individual who was using the cloning like technology for his own personal use,
right,
and for his want of power. We all took it as, oh, that's Palpatine, right? In this room where they discuss that, it's like there's a Project Necromancer, which is seemingly the Palpatine one. Why they want the cloning technology, and they're saying that he's been using the clone technology for himself on an operation on Navarro.
Yeah,
which he doesn't deny. He can but he's like, oh come on, aren't we all doing our own individual things? Like, aren't we all,
right?
But, yeah.
I have the footage of that. And
I've got the footage of it too.
I watched it, and what's kind of like occurred to me about it is I'm now of the opinion that Gideon wanted Grogu because he wants to try to make a version of himself he could use the Force.
And in I don't know if it's not very clear in the footage that that's gone around or whatever. Yeah. But like he walks past like a lot of of those like tube things with people in them. You don't see their faces.
Yeah.
But he walks past a bunch of them, and like obviously when we saw this like this 10 minutes or whatever that we saw, we didn't have the context of like who were in the point guards. We didn't know he was doing that. Like, so we thought like, oh, like in those things are like Snokes or versions of Snokes, which was exciting. But yeah, so
so why do you think Gideon wanted the pirates to attack Navarro?
It seems as if he wants to distract the New Republic or something. Like because he said like after the attack like he said the New Republic wouldn't get involved. They wouldn't, but like they said that but the New Republic have looked into it since. So I thought maybe he would try and distract the New Republic from something else, because he is now taking it upon himself. Like he said, he's going to go to Mandalorian and like fuck him up.
Yeah,
like he is now going to them to like stop it because they're ruining his plans. So I don't know. Because I don't understand why he would want to retake Navarro, because his little cloning operation is not approved by the Shadow Council and by Thrawn, which he's talking to this Shadow Council about, about what the Mandalorians are doing. So it's like, it doesn't make sense for him then to be like, okay, this is for the greater good of all of us. They're taking this one planet because of my little cloning operation. I want to take it back because they won't allow it. They are in full disagreement about his cloning operation. So I
Right.
don't understand it.
Yeah, I was still trying to figure out is does he want it back, or is it because Navarro's strategically a port in an important place in the galaxy, which is what Grief Karga had said. It's like one of those last stops or whatever he says, like until you get to weirder places. And so I was like wondering if it was like a strategic reason, but whatever it is, like reading between the lines, from what I could see, it's not clear. So
no, it's definitely not clear.
So shortly after the Mandalorian footage, Kennedy played a short clip of Skeleton Crew creators John Watts and Christopher Ford, who apologized for not being at the event as they're too busy with post-production of the series, and that they sent a friend in their absence. One of the leads of the series, Jude Law, took to the stage to the joy of the crowd before bringing out the child actors he worked with in the series, Ravi Cavett, Conyers, Kriana Crater, and Robert Timothy Smith. The kids
I think Timothy Smith is the Max Rebo kid.
Oh, okay.
And there was another one missing. I can't remember her name. It's like Raya or something.
Right.
Ryan. She's the Firestarter girl. The remake of Firestarter came out like last year.
Right.
It's her.
Oh, okay.
But she apparently made the trip, but then got ill when she was here.
The kids revealed that they were all introduced to Star Wars by their fathers, as the panelist jokes that the fathers showing their kids Star Wars is what keeps them in business. The crew on stage talked a little bit about how the series was conceived, with Jon Favreau stating that John Watts pitched him a loose version of Skeleton Crew before the launch of Disney Plus, and that Watts had also spoke with Kathleen Kennedy due to their experience with 80s Amblin films, something they wanted to evoke in the series, which Kennedy was happy to help with. Filoni added that the series focuses on a group of children who are seeking adventure and go off on one without their parents' knowledge. As they were getting ready to sign off, Favreau teased footage to be shown for those in attendance before a teaser trailer was played. So there's something kind of big in there that it was conceived before they even launched Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's something they said like quite clearly.
Yeah.
Favreau said I was working on Spider-Man, and which he said before. We've heard him say this before.
Yeah.
And we all took it as, oh, he was filming No Way Home, like the last Spider-Man movie, which was shot in 2020, and that's where the idea came from. No, he must have had this pitch to him on Spider-Man Far From Home, which was filmed in 2017.
Okay.
So this has been in the works for that many years. Was that 5 years?
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah. And again, when they talked about like going to Kennedy as well, it seems as if she was pretty involved in shaping it from what they were saying on stage. And I know a lot of people always complain like, oh, Kathy's micromanaging or whatever, like she gets involved with the project. But in this one, it's like, of course she should be involved. Like if you don't get Spielberg to come in and help you with it, you go and get Kathy to come in and help you with it if you want to evoke classic 80s Amblin, and John Watts himself, like he's very good at like evoking things of the past. Like with the Spider-Man stuff, he wanted the cast to all watch like John Hughes movies, and they were all kind of inspired by that. And you can definitely get those feel of that in those Spider-Man movies. So for him to team up with Kathy and evoke the 80s Amblin feel, I think that was a smart choice. And throughout the trailer, you can definitely feel it.
Yeah, no, she basically was like one of the co-runners of Amblin back then. Like, of course she would be involved in all of that. She knows everything about it, The trailer begins with a group of school kids seemingly bored with life, looking longingly in their classroom and seeking adventure. As the trailer progresses, we hear voiceovers from various lead groups discussing going on an adventure, as shots of them taking a speeder bike through a forest. They take their speeder bikes at the dead of night and venture out into the unknown full of glee. The next morning, the kids' parents realize they've gone missing, and the trailer intercuts the parents trying to find their children. By the way, I like how the dad, the dark-skinned man, has like big 70s looking glasses, like it's an Amblin
Yeah.
era film. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
that's perfect. With holograms asking them to return home. We see the children take a ship and whip around the galaxy, encountering various foes, including pirates, which includes Vane from the Mandalorian, and droids. The kids seemingly end up in a prison of some sort, where they meet Jude Law, who uses the Force to unlock them from their cell. So he's not the kind of teacher I thought he was. He's
No,
a
that's
different
what
kind
I
of
said as
teacher.
well. I turned heavy. I was like, he's not the teacher we thought.
Nope.
You know?
Different.
Yeah, and again, like the trailers, that's probably like one of the shortest trailers we saw. It was about 1:30 or something in length. And there's not a lot to like. It's hard to kind of write that one because there is a lot of just shooting and chasing. Like
it was showing you the Amblin style.
exactly.
It was showing you like the way that light is being used, the trucking shots, the shot from the perspective of the children more and stuff like that. And but it was fucking on. And it was like I mean, it even looks better than what JJ did with that one movie. What's the one? Super 8. Yeah, I felt like this was capturing it more than Super 8 did.
That's the thing. So
yeah,
like as we were watching it, I was kind of like blown away by just how it looked visually. Like this is a volume series, and it's like it doesn't look like Ahsoka, it doesn't look like Mando or any of it. Like it really does stand above those. And like I know like there's leaked trailers of it, like people posted it to Reddit and whatever, but like it does not do any of it justice for how we saw it. And like I said, it really does capture the Amblin feel. Like, you know, there's obviously people who probably hasn't watched Amblin movies, and we hear them outside saying like, "Oh my god, it reminded me of Stranger Things," like, which again is inspired by 80s Amblin movies.
Yeah,
and if people are getting that vibe from this, that's only a positive. Like watching the trailer, like it's funny. Like I'm excited for Ahsoka, and everything we know about it is really exciting. But Skeleton Crew now is like, it feels like a breath of fresh air and something new and different for Star Wars in this time period. And I'm so excited for it now. Like the show looks really good. There's various like pictures they showed which haven't gone online. In the trailer they don't have like Jude Law outside of just like the cell shot. So he lifts a key with the Force and like pushes it to them, and then you see him like walking, I think, after that then, as it just says Skeleton Crew. But there were shots they've shown us that he is piloting a ship, or the ship that they commandeered.
I saw the ship down at the set that one day when I went down there.
Yeah, so he does pilot it at some point. He is really disheveled looking. He looks like he's seen some rough times. Like that picture we had of him with the kid stood behind him, I think it was a D23. Like that's him on one of his better days, because he, like I said, he looks rough. He looks homeless. He looks like he's had a hard time. They don't explain how I wouldn't expect to explain it, but they don't really give you any context how the kids end up in a jail.
Yeah,
like they clearly steal a ship, but they must have the ship back when you see Jude Law piloting it. It also seems like the Max Rebo kid is the pilot of the ship, like for when they first steal it.
Because he doesn't seem, the Max Rebo kid doesn't seem to be with them at home, right? Or is he? I can't remember.
I don't remember him. I don't remember him in the school shots. I don't remember him, because the kids, like, even when they open like their like garage, right? Like it's a very 80s looking shot. They go in there like you know, if it was in the 80s, you get your bicycles and like run away. They go in there and get speeder bikes, and then you just see them like going through the forests, and like I don't remember the Max Rebo kid doing that either. So, but I remember the three other actors in that.
So they either meet the Max Rebo kid later, or Max Rebo kid was like went before them and got the ship ready for them to steal, and then they meet at the ship and go, something like that. And then it would make sense that they end up in jail, and then he helps them escape, and then that's when he pilots the ship, because he steals the ship that they were and then they leave from there, right? I mean, that's
what's also interesting about the parents aspect is there's like the black guy and a white woman, and they seem to be the parents of the kids,
right?
Like, but none of those kids look like they're related to those.
So do you think maybe the kids are like refugees of the Return of the Jedi War or something? You know, the kids who and like they've just taken them in. Because remember there were like stories like in like Aftermath and stuff about like all of those kids who were like orphaned and stuff. So maybe like they have a background similar to that. You know?
Because the father is going into different rooms of where they live, and he's saying the names of the kids, and they're not there.
Yeah.
So the kids must all live together. They must be siblings, or at least two of them. But then again, we don't see any other parents looking for these kids.
Right.
Like, it's those two all the time, specifically the guy who's going to, like, he's seemingly doing things in an office, he's looking at a droid suspiciously, he's in the holograms. You hear the mother, like, she sent it a message in a voiceover that we hear, like, but we don't see any other parents, which means they must be the sole parents in this movie. Like, all those kids must be, like, related, maybe not by blood, but you assume they are.
Right.
Yeah, Vane, he's in it. He seems to be working for a different pirate gang, I assume, at this point. I like how, like, Reddit as well was like, oh, he was sort of right. You know what I mean? Like, no, I said, I didn't specifically tell you which pirate. I didn't really know. Actually, I did know which pirate, and I couldn't really say out of, like, Jason knows why I couldn't say. Like, I knew which pirate would be there.
Yeah.
Like, but I never said go shot. I just used him as the thumbnail because like he's the most recognizable pirate. But like, yeah.
Well, they told me this week that I haven't got anything right, and then like yesterday I got like 15 things right. It was like, whatever, guys, whatever. Reddit.
That's the thing. Like, yeah. So like yesterday, like a bunch of people who came up and spoke to me and met me, they were like, "Oh my god, you got this right today. This, and then they mentioned you. Like Jason got this, and this. Like everybody who was there who like follows our stuff.
Yeah.
All thought of us first when they saw it. So when they saw like Balon and Shin, they were like, Jason like said their names and he said what they look like and everything. Like same thing with Hera, like and Vane, like the people come to me with those, and it was just like, yeah, well, I don't know why Reddit would say you didn't get anything right. There's like a lot of stuff like Jita Patel, like there's a lot of it. You know?
Well, I mean, Mecha Grogu happened. The crusty old guy happened. All of the stuff on Mando that they were saying, like, it's like, but you know, what can you do? People are weird.
Out of the trailers you watched, which is the ones that like stands out to you?
Yeah, actually, it's not because it's just the last one, but Skeleton Crew is the one that I'm like that I was the most excited for. That's the one that I want to see. And like like Lobo says foster home or an orphanage. See, I think the foster home / orphanage thing makes a lot of sense because we have these kids who are now meeting up with a Jedi. One of them is going to have the power of and if they're all related, then they would all have the power. But if they were all orphans, some might have it, some might not, which would make for a more interesting, kind of combination of friends in that like kind of scenario. And what I also find super interesting about it is that it like, what's the fucking first like rule of Jediing that we always hear? And it's in the original Star Wars films, it's adventure, excitement. A Jedi craves not these things. These kids leave to go on an adventure. Like, and they meet a Jedi. So it's like right there, like the whole thing, like so that sets up who one of them has to actually sort of go on a long journey if this does become a Jedi story, a Jedi master apprentice kind of like story, and if it goes that way at all, and which was too good to not, I would say. I would have to imagine it does go that way. And that these characters do, or one of them will end up being some sort of, product of that. And, and also has could mean very interesting things for, what happens to them in the future books and stuff like that as well. But yeah, so anyways, that's the Amblin thing, and those directors is what has me the most excited, about that. Like, I think Acolyte's going to be good, but I feel like Acolyte might might not be a week to week show where you're just like every week you're like, oh, I got my little Star Wars fix of my dopamine hit. I feel like that one's going to be like might be more of a slow burn with like plotting out and getting revenge and stuff, and like but I feel like that one right there, if it's not cringy, like my fear. So I loved what I saw of the Amblin stuff. But there's that one shot where the girl with the visor and the other girl, I think it's another girl, come in like frame together. I got a bit of a Spy Kids feeling off of that, and I'm like, I do not want Spy Kids. So if it feels like they went for Amblin but they got Spy Kids, then I think it will be not my favorite show. But if it goes full Amblin all the time and it truly is that, then that's the thing I'm the most excited for. I've always wanted Spielberg to do a Star Wars thing before he retired, and I feel like that ship is probably passed. Probably never going to happen at this point. So
do you think the Max Rebo kid is the chunk?
I would have to think so, because you don't want to put a real kid on screen and repeatedly fat shame them week to week, and and then also say you have to stay fat. You can't be anything but the fat boy, kind of thing. So if you get a performer who's, not fat and could go into the suit and stuff like that, like, and I'm not saying they would actually go out full on like fat shaming the kid and bullying him, but it does have to be like, oh no, Chunks eating, the candy is not supposed to, that kind of shit. So, so that's what I would assume. But
yeah, the Max Rebo kid as well, like he's barely in the trailer. Like I only really remember him in the one shot when he's piloting the ship that they steal.
Right.
I don't really remember him outside of that, but I do see the other kids.
Yeah.
Like even when they're in jail, I don't remember the Max Rebo kid.
Okay.
Do you? Like you've seen the trailer as well? Like
I need to go through it again and like watch it like again, and I'm gonna screen cap it all and like this week and like go shot by shot on all of the trailers, and because I almost have a false, I think it's a false memory of the kid in the school right now. And I don't, the elephant kid, the Max Rebo kid in the school, but I don't think that happened. So
I don't remember it, but like because obviously it starts with the Encanto kid, right? Like it's the Encanto kid just staring off, like looking like bored with his life, and it's his voiceover that we hear where he's like, "Do you not just ever want to go on an adventure? Like, do you not want excitement?" And he seems to be the one that despises the rest of the kids to like go with him. We also see him like
going. Yeah. Max Rebo kid is in the school with him.
He is in school.
He is. Yeah. He's in the classroom shot. See if this video does not want to let me rewind.
So then the Max Rebo kid is he one of the kids that they have as well then, or is he just a classmate?
They may just be all classmates who all kind of like escaped.
So where's the other parent? Where's the Max Rebo parents, man? You know what I mean? I want to see them.
Yeah, right.
I want to see a Max Rebo family.
I'm trying to get the shot. Okay, so right here, I think I got it right here.
Yeah, that's the Max Rebo kid.
So he's boarding class. So yeah, he is in there. So yeah, I'm guessing that yet they all just have a little E.T. Amblin style gang, and I guess you could say too, like when you think back to E.T., Elliot's mom and his older brother are all up in that stuff, but you don't really see the other parents of the gang and stuff out there. So maybe we just chalk it up to bad parents who don't like their kids.
Yeah. I tell you what's interesting is like when that trailer ends, it just says now in production. It didn't give a date.
Yeah.
And they didn't say a date on stage, but they did for everything else. Like Tony Gilroy said, Andor will come out in August next year. He said August. Not the usual thing where he said like, oh, it'll be roughly August. He should have said August.
Yeah.
Leslie Headland said
just next year. Like she was just all she would say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously they gave August for this year for Ahsoka, and with that one, it didn't say anything. Like Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni didn't say it. Jude Law, nobody, and then obviously in the trailer, it just says now in production.
And if it was coming out this Christmas time, do you think the trailer would be hitting soon?
I would say about 4 months out, the public would get the trailer.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're in that position with Ahsoka right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get a trailer in August, I'd say we get it in December. But
yeah.
And again, now that Ahsoka is slightly earlier than we thought, then there's a better chance of Skeleton Crew coming up, because when we were working it out, we were like, that's too close.
Yeah.
And now that Ahsoka's coming a bit earlier, then... And again, I don't think they've nailed down the Ahsoka date either, because it just says August. It doesn't say like August 23rd or something.
That's my birthday. Good job.
So, it doesn't... Yeah, so I don't think they've nailed that down. I don't think they've probably officially nailed down a Skeleton Crew date either.
Right.
But yeah, it's... I didn't like that when it just said now in production. I was like, no. Especially when the trailer's so good, I'm like, I want you to fucking tell me when this is coming out.
I guess it's better than them telling us it's coming out November 10th, and then it just does. They say no.
I just wanted them to say like
kidding.
2023. You know what I mean? I just wanted that. But again, now knowing kind of the vibes of it, like obviously we've always been told, but seeing it with our own eyes, that's the perfect show to start, like say a Thanksgiving and take it all throughout Christmas. Like that would be the best time to release that show. And I hope they market it really well. I hope that people get on board, because it looks really good. I know there's been so much shit behind the scenes, like with how people were treated and all the people that were let go, and departments just fucking ruined and just dissolved, and so many people quit, and like the mental health issues that it all brought to people, And again, that's not necessarily the fault of the cinematographers and the people helping craft that show. Like those are the people suffering.
Yeah.
But what they've made, at least from the trailer, looks to be something quite great.
Thanks for your suffering.
Yeah, and the directors they brought on as well. I don't know if like that adds to what we saw, but like in the quality of it, you'd assume it'd have to, right? Because like they were on stage and said, "You have assembled a team of rock stars for this," and they had, and them confirming who was doing it. Again, me and you had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. Like, it's so stupid they don't just tell you who's directing these things, because like it then becomes a story for somebody like me and you to report. Like Gita Vittel is like doing an episode.
Yeah.
Like this week they just showed you all the Ahsoka directors. I'm like, you should just be doing this in general. Like this is a good thing that you're doing right now. Like, it's easy PR for them.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure they'd want to announce it themselves than me and you doing it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'll gladly keep doing it though if they don't want to.
Oh yeah, 100%. Again, though, me being an idiot, when they brought the kids out, I was like, maybe I was right by not reporting like the one kid I heard was in this. And then they showed the fucking trailer, and there's the Firestarter kid. I was like, ah, shit. like, I did it again. I fucked myself up. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, all of it looks great. What was Rob's takes? I didn't have a chance to watch the show yesterday because I was like traveling so much.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, he hasn't really given his take, because most of the trailers I got, like he and I actually watched after. We did like a little private screening on here without anybody watching, so we didn't get taken down. And so he saw most of that stuff there, and like so. But Rob will he's seen them all, and we're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna screenshot them all. We're gonna go through all of it, and so Rob will give his deeper takes on that stuff. I think probably Tuesday. On Monday, I can't say it in case he's watching, but I'm taking the kids to a super place that they've always wanted to go, and so I'm gonna take them there on Monday. So I don't think there'll be a show on Monday. Since there's an extra Saturday show, I think that's okay though. But the plan is on Tuesday for me and Rob to break down all of the screenshots and anybody else who wants to show up. And Rob is listening right now. He's always watching. Wait, is that Filoni or is that you? Because Filoni's like, I'm always watching.
Kind of. I thought Rob, like, I thought that's what the show was yesterday. Like, the Rob was like on here with you and he like dissected it all. Because I didn't know like what had got out and what hadn't at that point. Like, I obviously like what was shown, the descriptions of it and everything, but like, I didn't know when or if the trailers had hit. Right. You know, somebody in that room fucking live streamed it, dude. Like, like fair play to them. But no, I'll be interested in hearing Rob's takes on them all.
Me too.
I hope he enjoyed most of the trailer shown because I generally think they all look pretty good. If he's skeptical of the movies happening, you know, I think we all are. You know.
I'm not. I this time I'm not. I feel like they're gonna do these.
It's the hope that kills you, man. You're not supposed to, right?
I think this is the time. I think this is the time. These are the ones that they're gonna do them. It's gonna happen.
I think they'll do some of them. I think they'll do some of them. Mangold, I don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm more confident in that indie movie now than I've ever been. Like, I've always thought it'll be good because he's a very talented writer and director.
Yeah.
But if for some reason, somehow, that movie doesn't hit critically and commercially, which I think it should, they might be like, hey, maybe this isn't the guy. Like, you know, and that might just be like, oh, yeah, he's busy. He's busy with Swamp Thing. Now he's busy with this. Like, and it just eventually just trickles away from our memories and he's no longer on board.
Yeah.
You know? I hope that's not the case because his movie sounds very intriguing and I'm very interested in it and he's obviously very, very talented. And again, Indy looks great. That like 6 minutes we saw was fantastic. Like, it was everything you wanted from Indiana Jones. It was funny, it was intense, it was thrilling, it was just full of adventure and full of like, again, good rapport between him and Phoebe and it's what you want. Even like down to the little short round kid. Like, he was funny. Like when he's on the back of the thing shouting, well, she's got gambling debts too. Like, there's like, it was great, you know? So I think he'll be, you know, great at it. Obviously, like, he's fantastic what he did with Logan as well, but I just, that's the one I'm like, you're the outlier, you know?
Right. Well, and it's the one that we would assume is the furthest one away, 100%. Which means a lot of shit could happen between now and then. And Rob says nothing could stop the Mangold. Can the Mans get the gold at the box office? I think it's gonna do pretty well. I think like Mission Impossible is gonna do really well. Obviously, I think it's obvious that Mission Impossible will perform. I am skeptical about families going to see Mission Impossible. Whereas I think that's what Indy gets that Mission Impossible doesn't necessarily have. Like, I'm taking the kids to see Indy. I might see Mission Impossible, but I definitely won't be taking the kids to see Mission Impossible.
There's like 2 or 3 weeks between Indy and Mission Impossible anyway, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What does Indy come after? Because that all of June is like ridiculous, right? There's like a big film every week. There's the Flash, the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, all I remember is that seemed to matter to Indy, where Flash having legs or something, Indy, and then Indy getting cut off by Mission Impossible. That was sort of like maybe where it might hit a huge drop, potentially. But
Flash? Flash is what, June 16th?
Yeah,
Indy's like June 30th. Is Spider-Verse like June 2nd or something? Like, its biggest competition in terms of families is Flash.
Right.
You know? And even when you factor in nostalgia as well with Michael Keaton returning into that movie, like, that's his biggest competition. It's not like necessarily Mission Impossible. Yeah, like, it could kneecap it, maybe. But again, like I said, I don't see families going for Mission Impossible.
Right.
Mission Impossible succeeds from probably like teenagers all the way to people like in their 60s.
Just like just straight up action people are going to be like, you know, give me that. And and Indiana Jones obviously has that too. That's where when the trailer started and Indy's sleeping, I was like, oh, are you guys fucking serious? Guys, come on. Like, you're selling this movie wrong. What are you doing? And I was like, okay, never mind. It's fine. It was just trying to show up like a guy who's about to retire, and then oh no, not today, Indy.
Yeah.
So fine, it's fine. But all right, well, have we done it all? Have we hit everything?
I think so, unless there's anything else you want to cover. Oh, Tales of the Jedi.
Oh shit, I forgot. I actually had that.
That's the
I had
one
that
thing
up.
you said we had to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I even had like the I had the little tweet up and everything, but then I think I took it down to start showing old man Thrawn. Wait, did I lose the tweet? You know what? No, it's a screenshot. Let me see. Here it goes.
They announced the second season of Tales of the Jedi. Did they say anything else in relation to it? Is it going to be focusing on Ahsoka again for a number of episodes? Is it just that?
That's when I was prepping for the show, that was all that we had. So if anything else came out, then it beats me. I don't know what else they like said. Like I figured that there would be more, because I don't think it really requires as much from Filoni, like in an immediate way all the time. I think he's able to like kind of, there's not that much to them. They're kind of shorts. They're long shorts to put it nicely. And then he he might have already fucking mapped this shit out a long time ago and just knows what he wants it to be and stuff. So, but they're doing it. Add that to Rob's wrong, because Rob said we won't be getting those anymore. And there it is.
Did he say that because Filoni's doing a movie?
Yeah. But
okay.
But most likely this would have been, Rob's probably essentially right, but this probably would have been put into movement before the movie was wherever it's at. I don't even know, like for all I don't even know, like there's so many what and ifs about that movie, about where it could be, like what has to happen first. Like you know what I mean, what has to be written before that movie can be written. Is like, or is there already a draft of this movie written because Filoni's like fucking wanted this and like worked for it, and like, and did he, is he doing the Sherlock Holmes thing where you write the end of the mystery and then you write everything else backwards? And is that what they've done? I don't know what their methodology is going to be for that, but if you have this big idea for this big event, it could be, he could kind of be doing that. So like I said, he could be further along than we think, or he might not even be anywhere near ready to start writing, like until he says something else.
For all we know, he might have already like done, like kind of mapped those out, like when he did the first part of it, the 1st season of it. Right. Maybe it's already in development. Maybe they're already animating it and putting it together. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, but it's weird they would just say, yeah, just this happening, and then like that's it.
Yeah,
because when Filoni first announced Tales of the Jedi, like he said, like 3 episodes will focus on Ahsoka, 3 will focus on Count Dooku. Like, I'm surprised they haven't said like anything to do with that. There's no date. I didn't think there would be a date, but like maybe you've just been like, yeah, we'll see some stories with Ahsoka, or like some of the prequel era Jedi or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's like reasons that maybe, like, for instance, what if it's showing like Balin when he was a Jedi, Order 66? What if it's like filling in some of the stuff that he's telling now? And what if it's, and so they might hold that because they don't, I don't know what they put out entirely, but I don't know. Have they confirmed that he's an Order 66 survivor yet?
No. Okay. They said everything to do with those two spoilers.
Yeah. So when the Ahsoka series comes out, they want you, like, that's where they want you to learn that, not on Making Star Wars. And so they're gonna go, and so it might be in the aftermath of that we learn, like, that's what something like that, or who that Inquisitor is and stuff, like it could be his stuff now.
I have a minor complaint about the Ahsoka trailer.
But everybody dropping in the frame, that's what kind of bothered me.
They all look a bit too clean.
Yeah.
Like Balin, like seeing him like when he's doing the Vader hallway scene, like he just looks too clean. But then when you see Shin, which is, I assume is the same ship that she's on, and he's on, she looks a bit dirtier and she looks a bit more like lived in her outfit.
She is a
girl. She looks good. She looks good. Like she looks like kind of ferocious as well. Like, but everybody looks a bit clean, a bit too clean, which has been a complaint we've had for the California, like, Dave Filoni, Favreau run stuff.
Yeah.
So I hope that's not the case.
Yeah. Because actually, in the Ahsoka trailer, there's like a shot of Hera with an Imperial, or not Imperial, like a General Madine guy, like a dark skinned man in like a General Madine outfit, and the Madine outfit compared to the real Madine outfit looks like it's like fucking Party City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, come on, like guys, like that's, and so, you know, and that kind of lines up with some of the stuff that I had heard about, you know, this current era down there of stuff trying to be made on too cheap and not, and then them going like, oh no, we need to make it good now, and having to redo shit and everything like that. So it doesn't surprise me.
I think it kind of goes to the conversation we had earlier with how Hera looks. We said it does not look right.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because the skeleton crew, like even from what we've seen in the trailer, that doesn't look like Ahsoka. Like it doesn't look clean.
Right.
You know.
And that's kind of like there is a chance, just gonna throw it out there. There's a chance that it's probably not the case, but there's a chance that they're gonna do one side of the stuff where it's like in the Republic, everything is looking a little bit like it's a little too clean. And then we might get, when we get to the latter half of it, that might be where it gets to like make like a juxtaposition between now and then, and like, you know what I mean? But I'm with you though. Like if you're going to do that, you still need to at least hit lived in.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think it does. But I'm wondering if that's what it is, but probably not. It's probably just all going to look like that the whole time. Like my other gripe is when she cuts the floor, like the perfect circle, but the thing is like it's like 3 feet thick. It's like, what the fuck? Like it's just a little bit ridiculous how she falls evenly on that in that way. That stuff works on a cartoon, but it's a little bit weird. If there's too much of that in the show, it'll be a little.
Are we assuming that when she cuts through the floor and like traverses through that, like I assume that's where the world between world thing is?
Yeah,
because she's at a Jedi temple, right? Because I remember like when I first got the pictures of the legs.
Yeah.
I like showed it to you, and we were like, because I took the picture, and then you pointed out to me, he was like, "That's fucking feet and legs, dude."
Yeah, and then I went down there, and I took a bunch of pictures of the feet.
Yeah,
and I'm like, look, I was like, there's some giant old floating feet.
Job. Yeah,
yeah. Sketchcraft's all, nah, Jason, it's a 6-part miniseries about a tossed salad that becomes Pirate Hut. Filoni SD. Okay, but yeah, no, that set with the foot is where she's fighting those like droid guards.
Droids,
yeah.
So I think when she goes down there and like explores, she this is a link to the world between worlds, and that's probably where she faces off with Balon.
Yeah,
or Balin. I gotta try and get his name right now.
Well, they were literally saying Balon.
Yeah,
like get off my Balon. That's how they were saying it. But whatever. I mean, maybe it is Balin. I don't know. What I was gonna say was, and that's weird that he's down there, that he's in there with her. As he followed her, is he? I started wondering, is there like more of his backstory? He's like, because he's old and he's an Order 66 survivor. I know that. Obviously, he's old, but I was like, started to wonder, like, does her fucking with that place somehow bring those cats out? You know what I mean? Does she? Is there a Pandora's box kind of element to fucking with what she fucks with to try to gaze where Ezra's at? Through that machine, to the world between worlds. Like, does that lead us to that or what?
Well, she is her down there looking into the world between worlds. Is that stuff where she's going to see Anakin and whatnot?
Yeah, that's where I think that's where that happens. Yeah.
And it's just X amount of time comes, and as she's been exploring, he's already there. He is now arrived.
Yeah,
because if those like droids or whatever work for like Morgan Elsbeth, and she's down there for a significant amount of time, then he would have time just to show up.
Yeah.
Like, and then that would lead to her going back to Sabine and the New Republic, and like something dark's come in. Like he works for her and she works for him, so we need to move. Again, everything we saw, I think, is very early on. Because even the ship that Shin is fired on is Ahsoka's starfighter.
Right.
Like, so everything we saw was, again, first 4 episodes, without a question of a doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe not Thrawn when we see him from behind, but like the rest of it easily is.
And that picture of Ezra the thing that I saw, the video I saw like a long time ago, that's from film. I'm convinced that was from filming that hologram.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw
Because
it.
Cause you see what I'm talking about? How that chest piece, like the armor looking thing, like looks like that's what like visually stuck out to me.
Yeah, and like you said about his hair was shorter.
Yeah,
and like which is clearly is there, and for the most part, every time we've seen Eamon, it's been long and he's had a beard.
he's got a Green Knight like thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Handsome man,
not a bad looking guy. He might have a future.
Weird they didn't bring him out because he then just tweets like, "Yeah, this is me, like I'm Ezra."
Well, what he did was he tweeted out, "It was great to play. It was great to play the hologram." Because it's like at that point, it's like you could see he's the fucking hologram. There's like no denying that's who he is, So he didn't come all the way out and say he was playing Ezra anywhere else, though. But he is. Like, don't worry about it. I mean,
he is 100%. Yeah,
and I told people about how Sabine will be using the his lightsaber in a fight and stuff like that against Shin and all that, and that he's there, and it's like, so he's not there in what they saw, I guess, right? But that stuff was confirmed, which means they should listen to me about that part.
Yeah.
Two.
Also, I wonder, like they said, they saw Sabine flying with the Purgle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how maybe they find Ezra?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's a detail we've never heard before. Is that that they're with them. Like, we don't know how they, discovered it. We kind of just thought, like, maybe they, maybe would trace it through Morgan Elsbeth as they're trying to make the venture out to wherever Thrawn is,
Yeah.
And yeah, but
I still find it weird that Morgan's the one who's going after Thrawn and heading up the project when we have this Shadow Council. What the fuck are this? Come on.
Which she was not a part of. She's not in, like, there.
Yeah, she's not a part of it. No. But I'm assuming that she was a contractor for the Empire, and that's how she knows Thrawn, or how they become like loyal to she becomes loyal to him in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, so it's weird that she's like heading that. So I'm kind of wondering if all of those Imperials are kind of like, you know what, we kind of don't really want him to come back, and then everybody
some of them seem really loyal to him though, like they're the ones taking orders straight from him.
Yeah,
and he's never present.
And remember what I told you though? Like, I heard that he thinks Gideon's a bitch.
Yeah.
And then we saw Gideon kind of saying like, "Fuck this guy, let me be your leader." So
yeah, it's a weird one, man. Again, though,
Daddy's gonna come home, and they're gonna.
Oh, he's coming. Yeah. Oh Lord, he coming.
Yeah, but. I don't know. I'm pretty happy. I mean, like with what we got, it definitely was not the worst case scenario for a celebration.
No. This again, I think it is kind of what we thought. We said we just get updates on everything we know,
right?
Running from now until the end of next year, which is absolutely what we had, and we'd have the 3 movies, which is what we had. We just had footage for Acolyte and Andor, which we probably didn't expect, because we said like maybe they'll show us pictures, give us a little bit more details, of course, on the shows. But giving us footage for them is only a win. It's only a positive bonus. Everything else we kind of planned out, like a trailer for Indy. Didn't expect to see 10 minutes of the next Mando episode, but they needed to have a Mandalorian presence there, I suppose.
And they made a beautiful indie poster, but they didn't give it to you, did they? They kept it for themselves.
No, how they handled the posters this time was different to how they had in the past.
Okay.
So where you told me that when you were leaving, like the 2019 panel, was it 2019 panel? Yeah. As you were walking out, they handed you a poster, right?
Yeah.
They did not do that this time. They sent you to a different place.
Oh, you know what? They did that in 2019.
Right.
They gave you had to go take like your thing and pick it up at a different location. That did happen in 2019.
Yeah. So that's what we had to do.
It's D23 where they hand them out.
Right. So they did that to us, and it was like one of our friends, Baymax, he has more than one poster, right?
Oh.
So and we ran into him, and he was like, "Yeah, go," like, and so Nick tried to get more than one poster and was told off. You know,
Get out of here, mustache. He's like,
so we all have just one poster each. I assume it's going to be the poster they put out when the series is done. Maybe, like, because there was put out one at the end of every season again, right?
Right.
Like, so I assume it's that one. Bo's holding the Darksaber in it. Like, there's no Mecha Grogu. There's nothing like that. You know what I mean? There's nothing.
Yeah.
That exciting in it, but yeah, it is what it is. It was surprising thing it was an indie poster considering they revealed it. Thought they might have given us 2 to pick up. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I'm sure like somebody would have nabbed you an indie poster and like sent it to you. You know. Because Pevi was giving away his Mandalorian poster.
If you get one, sell it. It's worth so much money. People spend so much dumb money on that stuff on eBay. Just sell it. Sell it.
I told Pevi to sell his Mandalorian poster and he just gave it away.
Oh, really? What a guy.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah. We help people out, Jason. You know?
You know what?
We give out through Battlefront updates, access to Mando, and give people posters.
People don't really... I think people underestimate the egalitarian nature of this spoiler network that we set up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, all right, dude. We've gone for like almost 3 hours, so I think we'll call it a show.
Oh, yeah.
But it was called the Star Wars Celebration Super Show with Bespin Bulletin, and I think it's been just that. So I think we did it. But I'll see everybody on Tuesday, and because I'm taking the kids to Super Mario World or whatever it's called on Monday.
But we weren't going to say the name just in case he was watching.
You know what? It's 3 hours in. I don't think he's going to be able to watch this long, so I think it's okay.
Yeah. I forgot. Kids, attention span.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll see everybody later. And thanks for coming and bringing all of the saving all the podcasting for us and sharing your experience. It was a good time, man.
Yeah, no worries, dude. Anytime.
All right, we'll see everybody later. Here's how how does the show end? It ends like this.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.